Good afternoon, everyone. It's now 6 o'clock. Time to get started. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Scott, and I'm here at Madison County Planning and Zoning. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our meeting tonight, our public hearing. Thank you all for coming. This is very nice to see the citizens be concerned and turned out for this. If you would, as usual, as I normally open up my meetings, would you please stand with me for a word of prayer? Eternal God, our fathers, once again, that we're bowing in our presence, thanking Thee for all the good and perfect gifts Thou bestowed upon us. Our Father, we thank You for life, health, and strength. We thank You for waking us up this morning in due time, keeping us safe thus far. Our Father, we ask that You come, be in this meeting tonight, get in our minds, that we may make the right decisions concerning our county. And our Father, we'll be so careful to give You all the praise and glory. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Before I get started, I'm going to ask the members of the Planning and Zoning to introduce themselves and to tell you what district they represent, starting to my left, Ms. Harvey.
My name is Stephanie Harvin. I represent District 3.
Good evening, Bruce Gandy, District 5.
Good evening, Cynthia Fortson. I'm elected by the committee.
Kenneth Bradley, Vice Chair, District 1. As I stated before, Canola Scott, appointed by the Chair of the Commission.
Lee Mitchell, District 2.
William Smith, District 4.
And of course, we have Ms.
Tracy Patrick.
Who is our Planning and Zoning Administrator. Okay. As the first order of business tonight, I'm required to read a few statements regarding the zoning process. Should you have any questions after I've finished, please raise your hands and I will try to answer them. Zoning directly affects private property rights. These include the rights of property owners to enjoy and to use their property, and the right of adjacent property owners and the general public not to be unreasonably harmed by specific land use. Tonight is the first of two public hearings to be held. A second public hearing before the Madison County Board of Commissioners will be held at this location at 6 p.m. I believe that's January the 9th? 8th. January 8th.
Yes, sir.
Held at this location, January 8th. Attendance by the applicants or their representative is not required at these public hearings, but your attendance is encouraged in case questions come up that I may not be able to answer. The order of business. As it's the order of business tonight, first I will introduce the applicant, and then the zoning administrator will give her comments. Then the applicant or their authorized agent will come forward, state their name, address, and sign in. Then to state the reason for their request. You may provide any other information or documents, supporting documentation. Next, the planning and zoning members will have the opportunity to ask the applicant questions to clarify their understanding of the issue related to the application. Afterwards, I will open the floor for public comment in support of or in opposition to the request. I would ask tonight that if you have a comment, please limit it to 3 minutes, because we want to give everybody the opportunity to state their case. We encourage groups with like concerns to elect a spokesperson to make your presentation. All comments will be addressed to to the commission and not others in attendance. No personal attacks will be allowed. After those who have had the opportunity to speak, the applicant will be invited back to the podium to rebut any negative comments and question any concern expressed by other speakers. The Madison County Planning and Zoning Commission is a recommending body only. I repeat that. The Madison County Zoning Commission is a recommending body only, consisting of concerned citizens who are appointed to 4-year terms by the county commission. We are a fact-finding body that visits the properties under consideration, review the information associated with the application, consider public comment raised by the public, and within the guidelines of the comprehensive plan and other land use ordinances, make comments to the board. The final decision on each request will be made to the Madison County Board of Commissioners at its meeting here on Monday night, January the 8th. With that, we'll get into our meeting. First of all, I need to ask, does any member of this board need to recuse themselves from any request before us tonight?
Mr. Chairman, I do need to recuse myself to avoid any perceived conflict of interest. However, if it's okay, I would like to participate in any general discussion that would not get into influencing others on their vote, if that's okay. Which one? Okay. Mr. Katu's application. I'm sorry.
Let the record show that he has recused himself due to the fact that he has some business dealings with this particular applicant.
Clarification, not involving this property. Years past, unrelated.
Right, correct. Okay. On our agenda tonight is old business, and I need to say this has been went before the Board of Commissioners, and they, which is consider proposed kennel amendments in section 7.1.2.17 and 7.2.2.17 of the zoning ordinance. The Board of Commissioners has they continued this until a later date, so we will not be discussing that tonight. Also, the Board of Commissioners decided to, our recommendation to them to go from 4 acres back to 2 acres. That has been also tabled because we have a consultant group that's coming in to rewrite our zoning ordinances, and they wanted to hear from them before they took that up as a vote. With that, we're going to new business. Ms. Tracy, our first order of business tonight.
All right, Matt Katu with Woodland Asset Management, applicant for the McEver Ayers Family Partnership, is requested to rezone their 591.91 acres from A1 to A2 and R3 to allow a golf course and clubhouse to be constructed and operated on the property, and for residential development. The property is located at 0 Howard Road in Hull on map 18, parcel 39 in District 1, and they also have a conditional use request to allow the golf course and the clubhouse, as it requires that.
All right, Mr. Kadu, please come up and introduce yourself and address the board as to what you're asking for.
Yes, my name is Matt Katu, professional address 227 Sandy Springs Place, Sandy Springs, Georgia. And I'm before you, and I appreciate you all being here tonight. I know we've talked about this quite a bit. We had quite a lengthy town hall last Tuesday. So what I want to present tonight is a STIP letter that was prepared in collaboration with my team and feedback from the community at the town hall, conversations with members of the community and just try to address, clarify some concerns, maybe some gray areas that were perceived in the town hall meeting. And so I thought maybe the best way to approach it is go through this stiff letter line by line, not line by line, but item by item, and I just give a brief overview on each item. And if you have any questions, you can ask them or ask for more clarity instead of just reading it word for word, or we can read it word for word, however you see fit.
So you're talking about these 12 items on this?
Yes, sir. It totals up to 16 items.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry, 16 items.
And
All right.
so I assume everybody's already familiar with the project, and unless you need me to give an overview on it, I can, or I could just go right into talking about the specific items we have listed.
Well, you may have somebody new here tonight.
Okay.
If you could give a very short overview and
Yes.
then go within this. Okay?
Absolutely. All right, we're here to propose a golf course and residential community. We've got a tract that's 588 acres. We're looking to do an 18-hole golf course with a private club membership that has a clubhouse and amenities that go along with golf course private memberships. It would have locker rooms, swimming pool, but then as you get into the residential, we'll also have available cottages and flats that are open to the members first, but to clarify, they also will be open to the public. The members will just have first right of refusal on units. And so in addition to the flats and the cottages, we'll also have actual, what we're calling the community lots. We've made some adjustments to that you don't necessarily see on the site plan, but you'll hear about it in the STIP letter. So outside of that.
All right, if you want to go through these, we'll be fine.
Absolutely. All right, so the STIP letter is intended to provide further clarification and stipulations on the property. The initial portion of the STIP letter just talks about the specific property and the legal description of the property. And then as we go through, the first step is more about just the specific parcel that we're referencing. The second is about the fact that second step clarifies the two different zoning types. Since it's a split zoning, we're clarifying that we will have a professional land surveyor put together a document that says this is the section we intend for A2 and this is the section we intend for R3. And that'll come within, I think it's 30 days after the vote with the council, the city council, or the county commission, excuse me. And so that just gives us time to make sure we have it locked in correctly and we only have to do it one time. All right, the third item is talking about the water main, and we're committed to pay for our portion of the water main that it takes to go from the existing main to service the property. And so we can't, as a STIP, there probably is going to need to be some language worked on it because we can't speak for the IDBA board, but we're saying we'll get into a cost share agreement that we'll pay for the minimum standard necessary to get water to our development. And then if they deem that this is an opportunity to upgrade a line or add additional hydrants or do whatever, they could do so and we could work out a deal, but we're willing to pay for our portion is what that's clarifying. All right, on the fourth step, it's talking about right-of-way improvements. We discussed in the town hall meeting, and there was some concern over coming off Sanford Road or coming off Pelican Springs and the need for right-of-way improvements such as deceleration lane. The cost of that deceleration lane will be tied onto the existing right-of-way, or the improvements will be tied onto the existing right-of-way, but the cost to make that upgrade would be our sole cost, and then we're willing to give the necessary right-of-way in order to make those improvements off of our property frontage. All right, so the fifth step is talking about development, design, and structures. That basically our design and structures are going to meet or exceed what we've shown in our presentation. Number 6, we're talking about the site layout, and that the site layout will meet or exceed what we've shown in our presentation, just the quality of the layout, and, you know, the lot counts could change or slightly be modified, but the general overlay of the layout, which is the last page, I guess, if you want to switch to that. So we're all on the same page. One, there we go. And so it's just stating that, in general, the site plan is going to be in conformance to what we're showing here. So I think there was a question like, what if we were to have more than 18, you know, have two 18-hole golf courses? We would have to, with this STIP, we'd have to come back for the board and present it if we were to have two courses, potentially. All right, number 7 gets into the overall density of the parcel. So we've got the 3 product types that we've discussed. And what we've done with number 7 is said the total project, which is the surveyor is locking in the exact number, but I have 588 point something acres total is what he's come up with. And so what we're committed to is that on the total project of having no more than 1 unit per 3 acre density. So that means we cannot exceed, in the 3 product types, we cannot exceed a total number of 196 units. So that would be the max that we could ever do on the property across the, say, 590 acres. Step number 8 talks about the A2 zoning, that it's restricted for the golf course and limited to the clubhouse. It includes but not limited to clubhouse, dining facility, car barn, maintenance facility, course cabins, private, and all the amenities that are known to be part of a private club is how we wrote this one. Number 9, on the portion that's zoned R3, so this speaks to some of the restrictions that we're imposing. Lots shall be serviced by private septic service and or community sewer treatment, and it has to be managed, if it's community sewer treatment, it has to be managed by a mandatory property management company and the homeowner association. Public water service shall be made available to any lot, guaranteeing that any lot 1.5 acres or less would have water service. Chances are every single lot would have it, but we just wanted to clarify that if it was 1.5 acres or less, we would guarantee that they have public water service. And that building permits, so this is an important one, building permits would not be issued for phase 1 of residential units until the golf course construction has commenced and initial infrastructure for the individual units has been permitted. So the intent there is there was a lot of concerns that maybe we were going to come in here with a beautiful design of a golf course and lots, and then build the lots and say the golf course will come. So what we're doing is saying that we'll start on the golf course before we start on the residential. Number 10 is all residential units shall fall under a mandatory homeowners association, which is controlled by a state licensed property management company. And then we get into some of the specifics of exactly what that HOA and management company would be doing. One of the items is the architectural control that we spoke on Tuesday night, that exterior elevations will be approved by the HOA and management company in the architectural board, and that the theme and designs outlined are what is shown in the zoning proposal. The exterior of the residential units shall have a mixture, shall be comprised of either brick, stone, concrete composite, or wood siding, fascia, and soffits, or a combination thereof. The landscape design would be approved, confirming conformity to the overall theme of the community. And then there was another important one about rentals. So what we've done is we've written in that rentals will be governed by the mandatory homeowner association, with the exception to only member-to-member or club-specific rentals. No short-term rentals will be prohibited, so will be allowed. So long-term rentals are acceptable, like say 30 days or greater. If somebody owns a house and they decide that they're moving, for a year to Texas or something, and they need to rent their house out, that is allowed, but the short-term VRBOs will not be allowed. Individual lot septic systems shall be permitted through Madison County Environmental Health, so meaning we have to go through and get permitted on the individual lot septic systems. But any system that has, let's see here, any community sewer treatment will be required to go before the state and/or EPD for permitting, because that's just not something that Madison County Health handles. It goes to the next level. 12 community lots, so that is section B as shown as on our site plan. We've adjusted the minimum lot size to be a minimum of 1 acre instead of 3/4 of an acre. And units shall be no less than, so the actual square footage of the homes shall be no less than 2,200 square feet. And community lots will be serviced by private septic service and public water, so long as it's at least 1.5 acres or less. Cottages, we get into the specifics on the total number of cottages. Total number shall not exceed 48 golf cottages. Units shall be no less than 1,500 square feet. Cottages units shall be served by either a private septic service or a community sewer treatment. And then units shall not exceed more than 6 units per acre. Flats, we get into the number as well. We also said 48 on the number of flats, no greater than 48 total flats. Units shall be no less than 1,200 square feet, and they could be either served by a private septic service or a community sewer treatment facility, but it has to be managed by the property management company. Units shall not exceed more than 6 units per acre as well on that one. There was a lot of concern over, I guess, from a couple of the firemen. So we went ahead and put in there the height restriction of 35 feet. So that's item number 15. And then number 16, we just went ahead and put in writing that Madison County Chamber of Commerce may elect to host an annual golf tournament at the course, and that they can coordinate with the head pro on the date compatible for both the course and the chamber for this tournament. So those are the 16 steps we put together, and I'm sure you have some questions, and I'm glad to step to the side so that if the public has any comments, then I can get back up here and answer to those.
We'll get to public comment.
Okay.
This board has the right now to open up to the board to ask any questions of Mr. Coutu that you would like to.
I got a couple of them.
Okay.
You said there'd be more than 196 total units on the whole 500-something acres.
Yes, sir.
That means you can't have 100 homes built.
So if we decide to go with 48 and 48 on the flats and the cottages, then it would be 100 of the community lots would be the max.
What size acre would it be?
The community lots are a minimum size of 1 acre is our minimum.
And also I got a question on the deceleration lanes.
Yes, sir.
Now, we talked about this last night.
Yes, sir.
I know you'd have to have a deceleration lane coming from Safford, coming towards the school. What about coming from 106? Would there be a deceleration lane there?
Are you talking Pelican Springs?
No, on Safford Road, there'd be a...
Oh, coming off of...
You coming from 106 up from the school over there, going toward the property. Would there be a deceleration lane added there?
I can't speak to that location. I mean, that's infrastructure in place that I don't foresee a deceleration lane being warranted there. So what we're talking about is our entrances into the community and the impact we have at our entrances.
Well, that
and the
would be an
deceleration.
entrance where you had entrance coming out down Safford Road. You'd have one going one way, you should have another coming in the other way, but...
Oh, I guess you're talking like a left turn lane?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't following you. Yes, sir, it's not often that you are required to have a left turn lane and that the traffic counts on a neighborhood. I know this seems like a larger neighborhood, but honestly, it's really not that large of a community, and it's not going to be a community that really pushes the limits of traffic. We will have to explore the idea of a left turn lane, And if it's deemed required, we will have to install one, but we don't foresee one at this time.
And then ask you this, if you have to install one, where would you come off on y'all's property?
Right, we would need to come over towards our property.
Any further comment?
Yeah, on the water system.
And I think the STIP. Okay, so we talk about the right-of-way improvements. We aren't specific to only a decel lane. So if a left turn lane's warranted and we need to put one in, that would be one of our costs.
He's talking about the water system.
Yes, sir.
You said y'all was going minimum standards on from tied in on 0.9 miles, y'all require.
Right.
What if the county says y'all have to require what they want you to put in?
So I've gone through this several times with different municipalities and different water departments, and a lot of times they'll come up with, hey, we want to increase the line for future expansion in some other direction, or we want to add this many hydrants because while we're there, we might as well. And in those instances, there's a cost share agreement. So the developer is responsible for what it takes to give them the water that they need for the infrastructure that they're bringing in. And then the county, a lot of times, will tack on and say, well, since we're getting the economic benefit of having a contractor already installing this line, we would like for that contractor, and we will, as part of our cost share, pay that contractor to add additional services and or add additional fire hydrants or something along the lines of improvements that they've kind of had on a wish list. A lot of times is what it is. And so I can't be bound to like an open checkbook that the water service could come in and just say, hey, Mr. Developer, you have to not only improve our water line to service your property, but you also have to improve all of Hull and all of Sanford. We have to limit it to, you know, the improvements to get us water, but at the same time, there's a tremendous benefit to the county to go ahead and, if they decide they want to add any services or any hydrants at that time.
Good. Anyone else? What's that?
Thank you. First, I don't know, this question might need to go to our lawyer.
Okay.
Or you first. My question is, after we're looking at all this, I was just wondering, why are you asking for an A2 and an R3 on the golf course side,
So
instead of a R3, which can include a golf course?
So the A2 would encompass the golf course, and the R3 would encompass all the residential.
Well, okay. You want to put condos or flats on the golf course?
Well, just off of the golf course, but yes, ma'am, labeled
On the golf course side.
section D. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's what
That,
I'm
that
asking.
center line is just a flat pipeline easement. It's not a demarcation for zoning.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that answers my question, because I was wondering why the housing is not R1.
Right, so we would have when we define the actual zoning lines, A2 and R3, there will be a defined line,
Okay.
and the residential component will.
I think you answered my question about the water. That was one of my main things.
Okay.
About running that line, because
Right.
I know a lot of the citizens are concerned about the water usage and all that, and you're going to take care of anything that runs from any line that you need to put in to officially get water to your community. Is that what you're saying?
So I will be working with the IDBA in determining exactly what lines necessary to service water into the community, and I will be taking on the cost for that.
Yes, so that's why I say anything that comes into the community, that's the cost.
Right.
Let me clarify, I think what he has said before. He will take care of anything that has to supply them water, but if there's any upgrades,
Oh,
then
yeah.
there will be a negotiation between them and the IDBA
Right, I understood that,
as a shared cost.
yeah.
Right, and then all the infrastructure within the development's on us as well, too.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, now my concern was, now I go to my question. Because this is an unusual, you're really doing an unusual subdivision. Usually the subdivision, they do residential first and then recreational. You're doing recreational and then, the residential. So, and I know, I found out that since you haven't purchased, you haven't really been able to go in there with any engineers or survey. You've been surveyed, but no engineers to dig a hole and say, well, we got this much well water, or we can put a pond here or there. That's just a diagram.
But we actually have performed a lot of due diligence on the site. We've been doing that for months now. And we have to do our due diligence prior to purchasing the property. And part of our due diligence is just assuring that we can also get the zoning that we need. So we've done preliminary engineering, environmental studies, wetland stream analysis. We've had, I can't remember the amount of borings we've had on site, but we've bored, we've checked for rock. There's been a lot of due diligence that has happened behind the scenes. Obviously, we can't go in there and do anything detrimental to the property, but there is an entire team of people that work on due diligence to ensure that this piece of property is what we're looking for, and that's been conducted, yes.
That I mean, got sufficient, because you won't know if it's got sufficient enough well water until you dig down into the ground.
Well, to an extent, I mean, the area is known for having capacity that we're talking about,
Okay.
but each well will be individually dug and tested, and, you know, there is some protocol that goes into that, so we didn't go and drill every well we would need. As of yet, there's quite an expense with that, and
Right.
we would need proper permitting before we started that process.
So that goes with the, if you don't have efficient enough water, so you don't know yet, because you haven't done, that water will come from because I see you're gonna have county water and well water. Whatever well you can do, the rest of it's gonna go from the county.
Well, I would say that we wouldn't have a successful golf course if we just went, if you're going to,
Oh, yeah, I know,
if we just had all county water, but no, we've hired the staff and the team that this is what they do. They explore for exactly the questions you're asking, and, you know, they go out there and do the borings, and they know the area, and they know what this property should yield, and based on our analysis, we feel that we have sufficient water.
Okay, so you think.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So, another question is,
Go ahead.
okay, I'm sorry. Well, I've been doing it. I know the tax, I mean, we said, if I recommend, right, that $1,000 per, golf hole, or is the tax dollars that will be returned?
I'm not exactly certain. I know what I heard was he was valuing them at $100,000 per hole, or maybe even a little more.
$100,000?
But that would be for Mr. Baker.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty significant number, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the housing rooftops would bring more. Now, that's if I was recommending, if I go back and think about what he said. So because you're gonna put the golf course first, the tax dollars really is gonna come from the golf course until you put rooftops. So my question is, do you have any pre-sales of people that, when you put that golf course in, there'll be houses going up soon after? Do you have any pre-sales or pre-sales?
Well, we haven't gotten to the stage yet to actually take deposits on pre-sales. We have the interest from multiple members already that want to have a home or a flat on this property, but no, we haven't taken pre-sales. It's just really early in the game for that. But currently, the property is under conservation, and so there's a rebate on taxes. So, you know, the day one that we close on the property, we have to pay for a set fee to break that conservation, and that initially would be a pretty sizable check to the county, and we've already looked into that. So day one, you're going to be collecting more than what you would be if it sat idle.
Right, I understand that, but that's a concern of the community.
Right.
That, the tax dollars is gonna offset their tax dollars.
Right.
And whatever coming in. And my last one was about I know we talked about the pesticides, and I did call the EPA, I called the watershed and everything, and they said they do strict.
Yes, ma'am.
They come in and do strict, come in and, really look at it strictly on when you put pesticides, and they have buffers and everything, your engineers and everything should be up to power on all that, and they really said there wasn't really a concern, but they come out yearly, and if there's any complaints, they would come out sooner. And I know you have the lake, you're trying to put in ponds and wells.
Right.
And I know most of them, like Lake Dow, has a big lake, so they don't have to worry about all that. So,
Well, you still have to be careful with the lakes, but I do appreciate you doing your due diligence as member of the board here and checking in on that. And absolutely, we will have more rules and regulations following us and that we have to uphold on this piece of property than you'd ever want to be involved in. It's almost a full-time job documenting, everything we spread and communicating with the proper authorities.
well, it's just a concern because, like they said, there might be slush from farmers and stuff, but they don't want to compound it with pesticides.
Right.
Going into a stream.
Excuse me, I don't want to stop you, but I will allow others to ask questions, please. Other members of the board. We'll come back to you.
Yes, sir.
Just real quick, I noticed on the water pipeline map that it looks like there's a connection there between the 6 and the 12-inch line, 0.9 miles away. Have you figured which one you'd be utilizing?
So I have not. I've got a little bit of research to do with the board, with the IDBA board, to confirm exactly how they want that tie-in to occur, and that would be part of the process of getting the initial document and the cost share agreement put together.
I want to make sure that I understood you correctly now. Before it comes before this board and the board of commissioners, that will be exact acreages on A2, exact acreages, not plus or minus.
Yes, sir. We will have a surveyor. Surveyor's already done a full boundary survey on the property, and then he will take that and create a demarcation line separating the A2 and the R3, which that will occur after the final hearing. If it were to pass with the county commissioners, then I think we put in here within 30 days. It may have said 90 days, but it allows some time to work back and forth just to make certain that that line is exactly where it's intended to be based on the agreements made.
That's number 2 in the proposed conditions, and it says it'll be substantially similar to what you see on the site plan. Is that right, Mr. Clinton?
Yes.
My last question, the houses are going to be on septic tanks, except you said community sewage. I mean, explain that.
So that's like a private sewer treatment facility. So when you have a little bit more dense projects, you can go with more of a private treatment facility. And so one of the benefits of the location of the driving range is you can have a system like a drip system instead of a standard leach field, which a drip system is currently more highly favored by the state on the source of, eliminating wastewater. And so it goes through the proper treatment process, then it drips out and irrigates. And so we have an opportunity with the fact that we have a course that we could utilize through all the proper permits, utilize some of our wastewater as irrigation. Now, let me just say one more time that it has to be properly treated and all that and tested. Similar to what you see on municipal treatment facilities as well.
And that's something that would need to be taken to the IDBA, just like the water system. They control our.
Well, and actually, on the community style system, it will even go further. It goes to the state and EPD. And the final permits come from that level. And so the IDBA, I think, would have a say and have comments, but it goes even further into the state and federal level for the final permitting.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got a bucket.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Good.
We talked a lot about the residential component of it. The clubhouse, dining facility, and those type of things. How are we handling infrastructure for those, that component?
So that will also be a private sewer system, likely a septic system on the clubhouse and amenities. And then we'll likely connect those to public water when we bring water to the site for those facilities.
Okay, so pretty much what I'm hearing is there's going to be a sewer treatment facility on this project currently. I know it's,
well, it depends
it's quick
on
for y'all and it's quick for us as well, man. We just got this when we walked in here, so.
Well, there's different types of systems that we'd have to go through and permit. The likely system is like a drip system for the denser areas of the property. So yes.
Okay. The clubhouse, the dining facility, how many seats are you thinking that the dining facility?
So the dining facility actually is not intended to be all that large, and the intent would be so that, you know, we've got a pretty limited membership that we've proposed. So we want everybody to feel like they've come into a cozy space, right? So if we have larger events like, say, a member guest or a member, then our other spaces will have temporary tables that we set up for the other spaces to expand. And so at those events, I think I mentioned in my letter of intent exactly the number. I think it was something like 400 or 500 seats at special times of the year.
That was the original?
The original letter of intent mentions it. But I don't have that letter of intent with me right now. But those are certain times of the year for larger member guest events.
There will be a need for temporary outdoor facilities to accommodate up to 1,000 people for some of those. I guess that's just where I continue to come back to. I want this to be a positive for the community.
Right, absolutely.
I expressed to you on the phone.
Right, absolutely.
The opportunity to hook the water, that's great, and it sounds as if there's going to need to be some updates that are going to be to require. I mean, this will be, I know you said this isn't a big project necessarily for you, but this is the largest residential for the county, and so there's some due diligence that we'd like to go through on our part, you know, with something like this. That being said, have you explored connecting to the sewer that is in the area? If you're going to go through the expense of doing this on, I understand it's beneficial that you can irrigate with wastewater the golf course, but to truly be a member of the community, to invest, to help out. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious as you've come and you've looked and you've begun this project, that's an area that we could benefit from. Is that something that can be utilized?
I mean, absolutely. It's something we're going to explore as the process goes. The initial review was that it just wouldn't work, but it's absolutely something we're willing to spend some time in exploring.
Did you put any numbers to it, what it would cost to put a pump station to be able to hook in, to tie into? I mean, because obviously you've done your due diligence, as you shared before. I mean, what is that?
So communities of this size, a pump station would run about $400,000 to $700,000.
Where if you're just going to handle it and treat it there on this facility, it would be...
It could cost just as much, honestly, but a lot of times what I get into is rural areas aren't necessarily looking for sewer to be run or having a lift station because it creates a maintenance issue that's a little bit more difficult for me to explain and get them over the hump. So,
and I don't want to profess that I'm that I understand it all as well, but I understand when we go from this where there's roughly 0 people on this 500 acres to we're talking about 7 Saturdays a year where there could be 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 people, that is going to create some waste. And then what is it that we do with it? I understand that it's going to fall underneath the jurisdiction, but once again, I work for the people that are out here, and I truly want this to be a symbiotic relationship.
So what happens when you have a larger event that maximizes the facility. I mean, for one, we have to design for a maximized facility, but for two, there's temporary services that can be done for one-off events that can take care of situations like you're talking about.
Porta potties and those types.
Right. Well, actually, I don't know what they call them, but they're these trailers. And if you call them a porta potty, the owners of those trailers get pretty mad, but they're pretty fancy.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
One question. The community lots in section B are your typical single-family residential, what we would typically know
Yes.
as homes.
Yes, sir.
Can you briefly tell me what the difference between a single-family residential versus a cottage versus a flat?
So single-family residential is going to be, you're going to have a 2-car plus garage. It's going to be, and we've shown some images that maybe if we scroll up, I think it's like 3 or 4, and I can better explain. So right there. Thank you, ma'am. So this is typical of what we're envisioning for the community lots. And as you notice, there's a full driveway, a multiple car garage, larger living space. And then if you scroll down a little further, if you don't mind, sorry, I didn't mean for you to be my secretary. So this is also the residential community field, but if you go down one more. Thank you so much. So this is a golf cottage, and you see they're set up for like 4 bedrooms to accommodate like a foursome coming to play golf. And so a lot of times they'll have 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, and then a little smaller living area, like just a kitchen and a family room is pretty common.
For short-term use.
For shorter stays, yes. Very common in the second home community to have just something that's easy to clean, easy to leave. Doesn't take you an hour to kind of make sure you got everything you brought into the house.
Now what's a flat?
A flat would be one of these units. So we've envisioned those to be maybe 2-bedroom, just a little smaller unit, but still the same level of standard on architectural control and interior finishes. You still have pretty much the same common area size, likely the same size kitchen and living area, but just probably more like 2-bedroom units.
And these would be rentals?
Not necessarily, no, sir. I would say that they would be something that members could own, and then when they have guests accompanying them, they can utilize them for their guests. And, some members have talked about having the actual single-family detached residential home, but then also owning a flat in order to, the wife doesn't always enjoy having company on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, haven't heard from Stephanie. You have any questions?
My question has been answered.
Okay.
Through you guys.
I got one more. Okay, I think Stephanie had one more. Then I'll come to you.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I see that, one thing you didn't address that we did bring to your attention is, gated community. Is that not going to be a part, because I know we talked about road maintenance and stuff like that.
Right, absolutely. We discussed the fact that with public streets, we still have to pay for all the infrastructure to construct those roads, and then we hold on to it in Madison County as a 24-month maintenance period, just to ensure that there's no substantial failure that, maybe something wasn't constructed correctly, and then at that point, you can dedicate to the county for maintenance. And so also part of that 2-year period is to allow your concern for rooftops to be built on those roads that we invest in. And so then those rooftops start paying the property taxes that then cover the cost and then beyond the cost of the maintenance of those roads. So right now we're intending to have the option to have public roads within the community on the Section B.
So that means, no. Are you saying that?
I'm saying we're not planning to gate at this time, no, ma'am.
Okay, because you don't know exactly when your rooftop's gonna go in, because you don't have a set date for that yet. It's a golf you don't have a set date, I don't know if you.
Well, what
have
I can
anything
assure you
else
of, we're
by the
gonna
time.
develop in phases, and so our intent isn't to go put a bunch of roads with no rooftops and then have them for multiple years and turn those roads over to the county to maintain. The business plan is to make certain that we develop for the demand, and so we develop in phases, and so we're not gonna have, all the streets in with empty lots. Is not what we're intending here.
Right, I understand that, but I'm just saying, the rooftops, you don't have a projected date of when you will actually start that. Because even when you give us come back with the other plans and everything, I don't know if you have any pre-construction sales or not, then or not.
So we intend to start some units once we start. We're committed to starting the golf course first.
Yeah.
And then we already have members that would like to purchase units. So we would start on those units after we start on the golf course.
Okay, is that the flats or the homes?
It would probably be a combination.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're still working through the fine details. I mean, first we have to go through the zoning before we could truly sell them, because we could have a non-binding contract if we end up having alterations to our zoning.
Okay, Kenneth?
I got one. I don't know, this hasn't been brought up, but, it's like that fire pit there. How's it gonna be lit? Is it gonna be natural gas or propane or wood?
Just depends. There'll probably be a combination of different fire pits that, everybody likes a wood fire pit. I mean, there's something about throwing a log on the fire that excites a lot of people, but then there'll be some propane, fire pits as well.
I know I don't think there's any natural gas run out there.
Right.
So that's what, I didn't know if it's gonna be all total electric or what.
No, sir. We would be doing propane, much like, I don't know if you've been to Lake Oconee area. There's a lot of propane style fire pits there as well as an option.
So would that be per, I'm sorry, would that be per unit or is that just as,
I would say every unit would have a fireplace, yes, ma'am.
Okay, we want to give the citizens time to respond to our public hearing. There's one last thing that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
You said that you have 24 months to turn it over to the county. The roads, once
After constructing the roads, there's a
after
24-month
constructing the road.
maintenance.
If you're gonna do it in phases, then you're gonna construct the road in phases.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, how does that 2 years
So when you
end up?
Right, so when you construct the road in phases, then you will have phases for our flats. The road systems turn over in phases as well.
Okay.
Okay,
I want to understand.
no problem. That's what I'm here for. Give some of the answers.
All right.
Maybe not all of them.
Well, we're gonna leave a room for you to come back.
Oh, perfect.
In rebuttal, we're gonna, open up the public hearing now and allow citizens to come and to, express their opinion for or against. And again, I would remind folks, please try to limit your comments to, hold your, to 3 minutes. First of all, is there anyone here that wants to speak for this particular result? Anyone here wants to speak particularly for this particular result? Hearing none, is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition to this particular result? Yes, ma'am. I saw your hand first. Please come up, tell us your name, and give us your comments.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. My name is Lisa Pitt. I live in Madison County, right off of Jack Sharp Road.
Okay.
I am totally opposed to this. I don't think that this is something that fits in with the lifestyle of Madison County residents. Like the gentleman spoke, he couldn't afford to go to the Oconee County area. I don't want Madison County to become another Oconee County area. I'd like to see it remain mostly agricultural, and so that the people that live here still have that community and neighborly feel. I don't believe he has all the answers, and I believe that some of the stuff that he said, he just kind of skated over. I kind of feel this is being shoved down our throats because of the tax incentives. I watched the public hearing for the BOC, and I'm sorry, but I think if you ask the Madison County residents, do you want to have this come into your neighborhood and maybe keep it from increasing your taxes? Or maybe you would just rather pay a little extra in your taxes to keep Madison County like it is. And that's the way I feel.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
How you doing, David Brown? I'm happy he came forward to give his presentation and give us a little bit more insight. But, like the last person came here, it feels like it's being rammed down our throats. And there's a lot of unknowns. You don't know how many people are going to be buying these lots. And he said a few interested people that are club members will be purchasing the lots. A few. They're trying to build 100 and some odd homes and another extra up to about 200 homes. So a few is a few. That's a lot more homes that's available for sale that's not being sold. So the bigger question is, where is their break-even point where they'll be paying taxes versus writing off losses? If most golf courses, their break-even is around 12 years. So we'll be working in phases up to 12 years before we see any tax benefits. And the other question is, if they do have a golf course there and they're working in phases, especially the roads they're talking about, there won't be any real impact on the roads the first 2 years because there's nobody living there. And then the roads will be turned over to the community or to the county. But once they start having events with thousands of people showing up, the county now has the maintenance of these roads. And on top of that, we'll have the traffic. They can't answer to any of these things. A lot of these unknown answers to these questions are going to be placed on the county's lap to take care of. The other issue I have is use the wrong term, like the right-of-way. Where are they going to put all the transmission lines in for water? Is it going to be on the side of the road leading up to the golf course, or is it going to be on other people's property? They have to get permission to do that. And if they don't get permission, how are they going to contend with getting these water lines in? The county has a big deficit for water right now, and they're saying they're going to need about 500,000 gallons per day to water the golf course. Where is that water coming from? So they have a need for this amount of water, but there's no supply. So they're going to invest millions of dollars in this golf course to not have water. Are they going to bring it in? I don't know where they're going to get it from, because we right now purchase water from the surrounding counties. The other issue I had is with the pollution from the chemicals that the golf course is going to require. There's Oconee River or something on the edge. It goes into a watershed that the surrounding counties use. Who is going to be doing those tests, and who's going to be responsible for cleaning it up thereafter? That's basically it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
Hanging in there, guys. My name is Gary Harvin. I am at 7747 Highway 172, Comer, Georgia. Let's talk about the density, man. You said that you're using your A2 in your density calculations?
Talk to us, sir. Okay. You're not here.
I have questions for the developer.
Okay. Well,
Are you using the A2 acreage in the density calculations?
Gary, you can only speak, you can't do that.
Oh, is he using the A2 and the density calculations? I'd definitely like an answer for that and a rebuttal once I receive the answer. If it's 588 acres, you're asking for a 1 unit per acre, or you're asking for a 588 unit maximum. Do you do a lot of zonings with flexible zoning district lines that you plan to address after you get approval from the Board of Commissioners? It's not likely in many counties. Let's not be an example, guys. The cottages and the multifamily, I think I heard 48 cottages, 48 multifamily, density of 6 units per acre. 4 bedrooms, 24 people per acre, drip emitter system. A lot of counties have outlawed them. Maybe the state EPD will play with it. This place needs a package plant. It needs a water treatment facility. They can land apply their wastewater onto their golf course. If not, it's 2 miles to our facility. Is he willing to cost share to upgrade our facility to carry the capacity to treat his water? Probably going to be cheaper than dealing with EPD and doing all the permitting. Pelican Springs, if you're going to improve the right-of-way, but you don't own both sides of the road, or you planning, then you already worked with anybody to acquire right-of-way to recenter the road. As of, I think, tonight, 6 o'clock is the first time we've actually heard the density numbers. Typically, to me, zoning deals with density first and foremost. You, the members of the board, just received this a few minutes ago, before this meeting started. Think of that. What's the land area that is going to be used for the multifamily, whatever you want to call it, cottages, flats? How are they going to be sold? Is it going to be fee simple? Are you planning on those being owned by the club and then given to the guests at a rental rate or part of their membership? Who deems it necessary for a left turn lane in Madison County on a county road? Nobody. Him. I'm not interested in cost sharing, guys. We're millions of dollars in debt with our water authority, whatever the IDBA. There is no wish list. Our wish list is to get out of debt.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please come forward, sir.
My name is Russell Adams. I live on Sanford Road. Mr. Harvey covered some of my concerns, but Mr. Smith had a good point about cost sharing to the lift station over at Dogsboro, because I went through a couple of years ago having to have new septic tank lines done on 2.5 acres, and I barely had running. And we're doing this on 3/4 of an acre. You know, it doesn't last forever. And, you know, whether they put in drip stations or whatever, they don't know what they're going to do yet. And I just have a problem with 3/4 acre lots with a house that may have 5 or 6 bedrooms. I mean, according to the pictures, they look very big. And 3/4 acre lot, you know, that's a lot for a septic. I just don't know if what they're proposing, if it's been thought out well enough to approve.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? There you go.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Draven Stavich. In our current and recently adopted comprehensive plan, the proposed development lies within a rural conservation character area. This area is designated for agriculture use and possibly large lot, single-family residential. Permitted use in this area may result in odors, dust, and effects that are incompatible with a residential development. The Rose Club Club is without a doubt a residential development. Over 160 lots for homes cannot be called anything but that. A lot of time and energy by the citizens of Madison County went into the development of the comprehensive plan that reflected their vision of Madison County now and into the future. The rural conservation character area should be left as it is. The section clearly states commissioners should consider adjacent existing land use and zoning change requests to ensure compatibility of use. Should this zoning change be approved, it will forever change the character of that area, not only for those that live near the Rose Golf Club development, but it will set a precedent for disregarding the work that we all put into our comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else?
My name's Steve Ford, live in Sanford community. I think this is, will destroy our community as we know it today. Not only for our families, but our children that's coming behind us. You know, there's gonna be a lot of water being used, and I just don't think it's a good idea. And what's gonna happen, they keep harping on about putting chicken houses and hog farms there. What if somebody goes by Honeycutt property right behind them and puts it right on the border? What's the difference? I mean, farming is most of our lives. That's how we make our livelihood, whether it's chicken, cows, or whatever. That would be like me going to Gwinnett trying to put a 16-house farm in the middle of 3 golf courses. It just don't make sense.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else? Anyone else? If not, I will close the public hearing. And, Mr. Coutu, you have any rebuttal to some of the questions that,
yes,
some
sir.
of the comments? And then we'll bring it back to the board for, our discussion and vote.
All right, so I know there was a concern over Madison County having a neighborly feel, and that's absolutely what we're intending for this project as well. Going down the list, I know that there was concerns over where the water line's going to go. Typically, a water line will stay within the road right away, and it's part of the public utility that's something that the county would be servicing. So we would be carrying likely up the Sanford Road right away is where the water main would go. And then we talked on pollution. I think we've talked about that a lot, so I don't really feel the need that we need to bring that up again or answer to that again. As it's related to density, yes, we're purchasing 588 acres, and the density should be considered across the entire 588 acres that we're purchasing. We decided to maintain a section of that 588 acres for a golf course. And so the density that we're talking about on the R3, where we came in and said a total of 48 units on the flats and 48 units on the cottages, that's showing that where we're going to put limits and caps on it, that otherwise, if we just came in with an R3 without those limits, we could go much higher than what we've proposed. And so the overall density that we're proposing is 1 unit for every 3 acres across our 588 acre parcel. So with the R3 zoning, yes, you could vote on an R3 zoning, but without our steps being laid out, the density could go much higher than what we've proposed. Left turn lane, decel lane, all that will fit in the right of way. If it doesn't, we have to expand the right of way onto our property. And that's typically how that is handled. Almost every community coming in, you'll see that the developer will dedicate additional right of way to the county in order to make those improvements, and we're taking on the cost of the improvements of the entrance, left turn lane and or decel lane. Cost sharing, you know, I understand that the county may not have a wish list, so that's why we have the cost sharing agreement. If the county does not have a wish list and does not want to add anything additional to the lines that are being brought over, then there would be no additional cost to the county. Let's see. As far as the lift station, we're willing to explore the idea of public sewer. Just the initial conversations I've had was the fact that there's a fear of additional density with public sewer, and so honestly, I didn't think that it was something anybody wanted me to explore. But I'm willing and committed to explore it in addition to further reviewing the septic solutions. And then as it relates to drain line. So as part of our permitting process, I know it was mentioned a couple times by the opposition on 3/4 of an acre lots, we've upped that to 1 acre minimum. But part of the permitting process, we have to have a primary and secondary source for the leach fields. So we're intending on making certain that we have not only the proper soils, but also we have our primary and secondary source so that we can get our permits. Are there any others that I need to address, that you feel I should address, or any other questions the board may have?
We've heard, we will have discussion on, back at this time, yes.
I was just asking to clarify something that he said about the drip station. You don't actually know yet if you can put one, because I know that reduces the water usage.
Right. So the drip station is something that we can permit. We just have a process to go through. There's a pretty lengthy process associated with the type of permitting we're talking about, and costs associated with it. So preliminary studies have shown that we are able to do that on the property with the soils we have and the type of use that we are proposing. But I'm not saying that we are definitely putting a drip system. It's one of the options that the state and the EPD has for us. All right. All right. Guess I'll sit right here just in case something comes up here.
We'll close the public hearing there and bring it back to the board for discussion. And after that discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve, to disapprove, to delay, to whatever your feelings is that we should recommend to the board. And before we start discussion, I would like to say that we've covered a lot of issues. Some of those relevant to us in the rezone process. A lot of those will come later. A lot of those details will have to be worked out. So our job here tonight is to determine if we want to recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve this rezone request with the information that we have. So I'll open it up for discussion.
I know a lot of comments I've heard over the last 2 or 3 weeks or months, so negative and for it and against it. A lot of them come up with tax revenue. We get tax revenue, cut of taxes. But we will not see them taxes for 4 or 5 years down the road, because it's gonna take at least 18 months to get the whole golf course going, and then the houses come in, it won't be that much. So the tax revenue is not going, I know we may get one off of Cougar, but I just dropped the bucket what our taxes is during the year. So that's my opinion on the tax revenue, because we won't see that tax revenue for maybe 4 or 5 years down the road.
Well, my comment to that is, from my point of view is, you're absolutely correct. But as a citizen, not as a chair here, that we have got to look down the road and plan for 10, 15, 20 years. So, there's nothing you're gonna do that's gonna get taxes immediately. This is my thoughts. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to remind everybody that this is literally the first step in this process.
Yes, sir.
The answers, I think, will not be there, and cannot be there until all the steps we start walking down that line. This, I know everyone's talked about the comprehensive plan, and I do believe in the comprehensive plan. I'm just, the land, the areas that are focused, I think this is it's just on the edge of it. So, I mean, it's not like it's all the way out in the middle of the highly agricultural area. if you look on the map, there's other subdivisions very, very close by you. As the crow flies. So, once again, I'm not so sure that our approval of this recommendation to the board recommending approval would do anything other than just opening this up. I don't think it's an irrevocable thing as I read over these covenants here. I think there's a lot of places, a lot of the apprehensions I had have been addressed by that. So at this point, I'm open, but I'm leaning towards maybe looking at approval of this.
Anyone else?
Well, I also had a lot of people that text and a lot of concerns, and I even had the same concerns about the pesticides, water usage, and I know he cannot answer a lot of questions that we may have about details about how much water is going to come through or anything until they go in there and dig something, because that's just like, until you go in the ground, you're not going to know anything. And also about, there's the positive that we are, yes, the tax dollars, which we will get so much for the golf course, but the taxes will come when those rooftops go up, the real tax dollars we get from. So there's a positive and a negative, and I understand the concerns of the citizens and the people that, I know they're putting in money, a lot of money, so they're not going to just do something and not put all that money into something that's going to fail. But there's a lot of unknowns because they cannot do anything until they go in there and really get into the ground and see what they're doing. So my concern is that that's why we have a lot of unknowns, because of, but mine was answered, and I talked to EPA, I talked to Watershed, I even called golf course designers, and told me that they're under very strict regulations about runoff and everything. Now, everybody wants to be a good neighbor, so they have to be good neighbors just like we want to be good neighbors. So I don't know.
Anyone else? Comments?
Yeah, thank you very much for this. My greatest challenge with this is I did not receive this until I came and I sat down here, and when we spoke on the phone, that was one condition that I ask of you is, to me, to be responsible for the people that I serve, I'm not doing my due diligence, and you wouldn't go into a business transaction without doing your due diligence and being provided something to make a decision on right before I am to vote. So I'm not saying that even at this point that I'm against it. I just have not had the time with what I requested of you to be responsible.
Can I speak to that?
If the chairman allows, it's up to the board now.
Well, before you do, there's the vote that we take tonight doesn't have to, if I'm looking at this right, doesn't have to be approval, disapproval. It can be with some conditions. It can be to delay for a certain period of time. So, that's an option.
I was just expressing, my
That-
thoughts on that.
That's an option.
He was kind enough to reach out to me to ask if I had questions, and I wanted to be transparent and say it in an open forum.
And I don't know whose fault it is that we didn't get this earlier, but now I'll let you speak to that.
So with our hearing on Tuesday night, there were a lot of just comments, questions, concerns, and so it takes time to assemble all those, and this was actually a template letter that was talked about in the previous planning, and we just improved upon it. And what we saw is limitations and stipulations on the property that were addressing those concerns from Tuesday night. And so honestly, was not sent until like 3:45 today, because drafts have been circulating internally amongst my team to make certain that we present the best stiff letter possible. And I did some checking on some of the infrastructure, and it wasn't necessarily exactly the sewer, but it was some of the other public infrastructure, with calls that came as late as 3 o'clock today. And so a lot of due diligence has gone into the process, and I can assure you, with quality development, it takes time. You can't just make it happen. There's developments that happen within less than a year, and you know, I'm not saying you can't do that with a quality development, but I will say that the majority of quality developments take time. And so we're just trying to present. I know I can't answer every question, but part of the process going forward with everything that we have to permit and through all the regulations we have to go through, I don't think that there's going to be any stone that's unturned.
Okay, thank you so much. I too hope you understand that developments of this magnitude normally takes a lot longer for approval than Madison County, the way we've got it set up. You know, in some cases, it may take 6 months to a year till we get all of the answers that we think we need, you know. So, I can understand some of these board members having an issue with not getting this information until late this afternoon. But with that being said, I'll bring it back to the board for your determination if you want to make a motion at this time, and we'll move forward. Yes, Stephanie?
I don't think anybody in this room knows the full impact that this will have. I don't oppose large developments. As you stated at the beginning of our meeting, the BOC and us have decided on kennels and our AR that we need assistance. If we need assistance from a third-party consultant on kennels, why aren't we using a third party to help us on the review of this? They will be able to let us know what the true impacts, water, environmental, traffic. I don't think we're fully equipped to manage a large development of this magnitude.
Okay. With that, is anybody ready to make a motion?
Just a clarification, the document that we just received that we've gone over tonight. Now, is that considered a condition, or does that need to be added into the motion?
Mike?
Yes, sir. It does. What Mr. Patu presented and went through item by item, those are the proposed conditions for approval of the result.
Were those conditions, were you part of that discussion?
I had done the initial draft about a month ago. I had not seen these until, as Mr. Patu said, about 3:45 or later this afternoon. I think there are a couple of them that we probably need to tweak just a little bit, but that's something that could occur between now and the BOC meeting. Again, just from a legal perspective.
Okay. With that, I have one last final question to you. Do you change the acreage to 1 acre? How much would you oppose to 1.5 acres?
I know it's a big commitment just to go to 1, and we're talking about minimum size acreage. So what I've said is the minimum is 1 acre. I'd be willing to say that on average, we'll have 1.5 size lots. We just need a scenario where there's potential that that's where we have good soils and we can get 1 acre, which the mandate is 3/4 of an acre is the minimum. So we pushed it to 1 acre just based on feedback we were receiving.
Okay. That answers my question. Are we ready to, we can ask all kinds of questions from now to the morning. We got a lot of other things that we got to address tonight. So I want to bring this to conclusion on some type of motion to approve disapprove, delay, whatever how you wanna word it. But we need something that we can go to the commissioners and make a recommendation.
I'll make a motion to deny this application.
I have a motion by Kenneth to deny.
I second.
A motion by Kenneth to deny and a second by Stephanie. Any further discussion? Start with Stephanie.
Yes.
Go.
I have a strong, when you say just deny, I feel that it should be looked at further, but I'm going to say we're voting on deny.
Yeah, a no would be against the motion.
A no will be against the motion, a yes will be for the motion.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, you gotta. So what's the count here? 3-2. 3-2 to, the motion fails. The motion fails by 3-2.
3-3.
No, 3.
3-3, and zoning law says that a tie is no action, so the floor is open for another motion.
I make a motion because we did get this at a late date, that we, just take it for another day, or we delay it.
And Mr. Chairman, guys, I don't think that is actually an option.
Oh, okay.
For two reasons. One, the zoning ordinance says that if you don't make a decision within 30 days of the public hearing, then it's deemed an approval or recommendation for approval. Secondly, the Board of Commissioners hearing has already been advertised for January 8th, so that has to go forward.
Okay, with that being said, the motion has to have another motion. I will make a motion that this be approved with the conditions stated in this, with the conditions, and I'd like to add a condition that the lot sizes for the single-family housing be 1.5 acres, and that this be a gated community.
The residential portion.
Yes.
Can I, ask Chairman,
I'm waiting for a second.
oh,
A second, or it dies. One of the two.
second.
All right, it's been a motion by me, Canola Scott, second by Cynthia Folsom. As I stated, Mr. Tracy, would you want to tell us what I just said, please?
Okay, to approve with the 16 conditions, and then change the lot size for the single-family residential housing to 1.5 acres, and the residential portion be a gated community.
Can I ask, the chairman is.
That will be done in the discussion part of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and second by me. Moved by me and second by Cynthia. This proposal, now is there any discussion?
Yes, I would want to know if we can consider, and I don't know if we can do this, if we can, put a condition that, the golf course and home start simultaneously. The construction,
If you can add that as a condition to the motion. I've never seen one that said simultaneous. I've seen conditions that one or the other or a certain level has to be reached, just like we have here. Yeah, I'm not sure what it would mean to start simultaneously because they might not proceed on the same timeline and path anyway. I'm not sure if that would be meaningful.
well, how can I reword it so that,
Well, you could make a new motion, but I would not put that in my motion because I don't think that's achievable.
and with the water, in the, well, I guess that's what you do, most ways to go.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, the requirement for it to be a private community or gated community, and that's just so that the maintenance of the roads, is that the...
Well, to understand where I'm coming from,
Yes.
I have a problem with taking roads in phases. You can't complete all those roads until the last house is built. So, you know, the county's taking over this portion, then this portion, then this portion. I have a problem with that. That's why I put that in my motion.
And the making it a gated community would alleviate that?
Yes.
Increase our, you know, they have to maintain those.
I think the intent is to say that, it would be a condition of the rezone that the roads would all be private, not public.
Correct.
Gated is sort of a shorthand way of saying that, because gated roads can never be public, because public roads are required to be open to the public.
Could a motion be that a condition where the water treatment station, if they have to connect or they just, operate?
Well, again, that's one of the things we have to tweak, and that's actually, I think, we since the IDBA runs water and it's a separate constitutional authority, there's going to have to be some talk between the developer and the IDBA about that. And again, typically sewer is not something. Typically, water and sewer authorities want to sell the water. They don't really want to be in the sewer business. Now, that could be different situations, but it would be something I'd recommend that you try to impose here as a condition, because we can't read the IDBA's mind on that.
Okay. All right. Motion and second. We're ready to vote. We'll start with Bruce.
I'm trying to think, is yes or no?
Yes, if you want it, no, if you do not.
If you wanted to go.
Yes, if the motion is to your liking.
To go for it.
No.
Yes, to go forward? Oh, okay, all right. We can get answers until it goes.
Yes. No, yes.
Yes.
No. Yes.
No.
No.
4-2.
So that, again, fails and leaves the floor open to another motion. When I was discussing the timeline and delay, Mr. Katu wanted to make a comment, and it is something that the applicant can waive. So, Mr. Katu, did you want to comment?
Say that again, Michael, Flash.
The timelines can be waived by the applicant, so I just wanted to see if Mr. Katu wanted to pose something. He had a hand up over there.
Does he have to,
Yeah.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Well, okay.
So this is too important just to.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Come on.
I mean, I think we're down to some of the fine, minute requirements that fall to your actual divisions, like your water and your sewer and your planning and zoning board. I think we have the bulk of what's necessary to govern over this property, and the fact that we have the STIP letter and the criteria based on the unit count. I will say that I'm glad to have further discussions with the IDBA board and figure out that if there's an ability to go public sewer, and at least talk it through with them and understand that. And so I don't want to say that I'm not willing to put in the work to research and work with them, and I don't even know, since we've been talking septic, that they're even open to the idea. But if that needed to be part of, say, your condition to move forward with this project, to approve this project, then I'd be glad to do the work. And in the long run, we're going to be presenting before them on the water and discussing the sewer, and it would be something that they would be involved in the permitting of. So, like I said, I'd be willing to put in the work to see if they're open to the idea, and if there's a way to also explore public sewer on the property. But as for the time, I don't know that another 30 days of discussions. I mean, I've talked with a lot of people and have gotten a lot of feedback, and with some of the people's schedules, it took a little longer than anticipated, but I don't think that we're really going to come to any more detail in this letter at this point.
Okay? As of, we have, yes, yeah.
Please, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
Are we open for another motion?
Well, that motion actually passed, the no.
Got 2 yeses and the rest no.
Okay, failed. We're open for another motion, okay?
I move with approve with the condition of, I think the acre and a half, but not dropping the condition that you mentioned about the public project.
With the 16 conditions plus the acre and a half.
Yes.
Not to give it.
Not to get.
Okay, we got a motion by Bruce. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Cynthia?
I think you took that bit out there. I say yes.
No. Yes.
No.
Yes. 3-3? Okay, with that being said, it's up for another motion, but I need to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
As far as, you said this has been advertised. Is there no way that we can delay this? Because I think this is far too important on both sides to.
You can delay it for 29 days or less. But if you delay it beyond that, then it's deemed to be an approval. However, the Board of Commissioners may choose to go forward on the 8th. That would basically require a call meeting on your part, and then if the Board of Commissioners wanted, they could choose to delay and wait for your decision and re-advertise, or they could choose to just go forward without a recommendation from the commission.
What I would propose at this time, since we're kind of the home jury, is to go to the Board of Commissioners without a recommendation, since we can't decide how we want to go, and then put the burden on them to decide.
Could the commissioners at that point, at their meeting, decide to ask for more time?
No, once it leaves here, they have to make a decision. They also have to make a decision within 30 days. But what Chairman Scott proposed is perfectly fine. That would work as well.
Does that have to go through a motion?
It probably should, actually.
I will make a motion that since we can't come to a decision as a board, because there's one recusal, thank you very much, that our recommendation to the Board of Commissioners is no recommendation, because we cannot come to an agreement. And it be left on the steps of the Board of Commissioners to decide.
So, just to clarify, your motion is
to advance it without a recommendation.
To advance it without a recommendation. Is that a second? I'll second that. All right. It's been moved by Mayor, second by Bruce, that we have no recommendation. All right, Kenneth?
Yes.
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 All right. right, Mr. Commissioner, we don't have a recommendation.
Thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our next one. Anyone need a break? 5-minute break, please.
I'll be open the doors.
How did you get your cow back up? Cow get back up? No, I didn't know this lady had it great right
That's when you rotate. I got a couple more. Okay. You have perspective that I don't. Yeah.
I got my long on.
No, I don't.
How you doing?
I'm good, bud.
How are you?
Are we ready? Ladies and gentlemen, can I get your attention, please? We're about ready to continue with other rezone requests. If you would, please. All right. Ms. Tracy, number 3, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, next up we have Ben and Rebecca Harden. And they are requesting to rezone 28.15 acres from A1 to AR to allow a split for a child. The property is located at 556 Stagecoach Way in Danielsville on map 63, parcel 65 in District 4.
All right,
Right, I'm sorry, A1 to A2, I apologize.
all right. Mr. Ms. Harden, please come forward. Tell us what you want to know. What want us to know.
Yeah, I got 2 easements marked on the property, depending on what the preferred on that. One of them is obviously I can give myself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So one of them I give myself right here. This easement's been in since they developed the property, so I've got the whole, it's in the easement off of that one. And I live on 15 acres now, close to 15 acre side, and I'd like to do something on the other side for one of my children. Also on the 5 acre tract, on the edge of the driveway, right? So that way, these two might be able to do something.
All right, sir. Any questions from the board for Mr. Harden?
You were just pointing to the parcel at the top of the page.
Right here.
Say that again.
I'm splitting these two. I'm saying I own this one as well.
Okay.
It gave me my access.
Okay,
to this.
just saying that you.
Yeah, this was landlocked when I bought this property. And I happen to own these two at a time, so I gave myself. So I can continue this access here if I needed to, but this one's already in the deed.
Any other questions?
And that driveway is 30 feet wide?
Yes,
Is that okay? Private drive?
Yes, Any further discussion? Thanks, sir.
all right, thank you.
We'll now open the public hearing. Does anyone here wants to speak for this rezone request? Anyone want to speak for this rezone request? Hearing none, is there anyone here want to speak in opposition to? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for a motion to approve, disapprove, or approve with conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve with the utilization of the, I guess we would call that the second easement that he pointed out there, the one that is not necessarily highlighted, but the one that gives direct access to the parcel.
Get a second?
What are they?
I'll second it.
Talking about the phrasing.
Yes, for the second easement.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that,
So the condition is that there would be an easement where,
that they utilize the easement that he has pointed out.
You need to show us.
Yeah.
Have a separate entrance, utilizing the
Okay.
easement that's pre-existing.
okay, so that's not his property, so that has nothing to do with it. Is this his property here? So you don't want that 30-foot easement that you want the condition to be that the lot will not utilize this separate easement, that it will utilize the existing easement across property now formerly held in ward.
But that
That's not the
easement-
motion.
That easement, he said, is already in the deed. I mean, if it's in the deed, he should be able to use it also, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we don't do title searches, so I think because, I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say. I think it's to say that the additional easement be deleted from this plat. Is that what you're saying?
No.
For him to be able to utilize the easement that's on Calvin Ward to access this property.
Well, I mean, whether he can or can't do that is a matter of title and deeds, and we'll delve into that.
Can I just mention that just like 3 months ago, I went to Grand Law Firm and had the deed.
Okay, so you do have a recorded easement there.
The one going through Calvin's is the official easement. The other one, I got Tommy Paul just to draw in case y'all didn't like the Calvin Ward one, to show that there is access from both sides.
Okay, so you're relying on the fact that there's an existing easement to make a motion to
It's in
approve.
the paperwork too.
Correct, yeah, okay. So what's the condition?
So then,
Utilize the existing easement. Having more property.
Well, he can access the property anywhere that he's legally allowed to. So if he has an easement from Mr. Ward, he can access it there.
So the motion
And
is,
this would give him a second access. Do you not want him to have a second?
no, I just was trying to alleviate the use of like a private drive where we're having, where we'd have a private drive situation when he subdivided that parcel, where each parcel has a unique entrance.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So, yeah. So,
You're the lawyer, I'm just trying to,
so you're worried about this new easement accessing both tracks 1 and track 2, and this becoming a private drive.
Correct. Not necessarily worried, but just trying to clear it up for,
But I think he could, I think that would just be a matter of code enforcement if in fact this new easement does not, there's no extension of it on the track 2. Yeah, then there would be it would not be a private drive, and planning and zoning would not be a violation for that. That's the owner.
how should it be properly worded, sir?
I don't think you have to. It's in control of the
Make a motion that
owner.
we approve as presented.
all right, motion to approve as presented. Second?
I second.
No second. Any more discussion? If not, anything from you?
Yes.
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 That is approved, sir. Keep in mind, the next public hearing will be, January 8th.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Frazier?
Okay, next up, we have Bruce Patterson, applicant for Janelle Bowen Estate, is requesting to rezone a portion of the 17.594 acres from A2 to AR to allow a split for inheritance purposes. Property is located at 6814 Highway 106 South in Hull on map 29, parcel 38 in District 1.
All right, Bruce, how are you?
Just fine.
Good. Tell us what you want us to know. Tell us what you want us to know.
I'm Bruce Patterson. I live at 90 Crabapple Hall Road. And as she said, this is a request for a rezone of 4 acres off of an existing 17.594 acres for inheritance purposes.
All right. Is there any questions for Mr. Patterson?
Yes, sir. I don't have any question about the 4 acres, but it does mention that there's gonna be a 3-acre absorption to be absorbed into an adjoining A2 property, specifically 043.
Yeah, there will be 2 other segments of this 17 acres, but that don't require any rezone because they will be absorbed into existing A2 adjoining.
That's something to be done later?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Not this time.
And the access to this property, even though it touches, Highway 106, right there,
You better pull up the site plan of the 4 acres.
yeah, that's the one I'm looking for.
Okay.
All right, it touches Highway 106, but the actual access will be off of this existing easement, right here for driveway and come into the back of the lot. There won't be any driveways on 106.
Any other questions for Mr. Patterson?
The easement isn't shown on any of our diagrams.
Shown on this one. They don't show an easement up there.
No, it doesn't show the easement.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't show the easement for this right here, but that's the way it would be accessed.
So you don't have a recorded easement?
Not yet. This was just a site plan.
Does that need to be a condition?
That'll all be addressed at plat approval.
Yeah. Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Thank you.
Open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak for this rezone request? Hearing none, is there anyone here who wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and come back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve? Second? Any further discussion?
Yes.
If not, I'm yes.
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 Passing it is approved. Just a reminder that there will be another public hearing on January 8th before the commission. Tracy?
Okay, next up is Lynn and Tanya Hicks. They are requesting to rezone their 5.8 acres from A1 to R1 to allow a split for a child. The property is located at 334 East Commerce Road in Commerce on map 2, parcel 41 in District 1.
All right, Mr. Hicks?
My name's Lynn Hicks. I live at 334 East Commerce Road. I have a daughter who's getting married in May, and I wish to give her 2 acres of land to build a house on. It's on a tract of land that I bought years ago. It was originally an 8-acre tract, and they allowed me to do 2 acres for my father-in-law on the front. I want to do 2 acres for my daughter on it as well. I own all the land around it. It'll be here. I own this tract too as well. This flag on it, this flag-shaped tract, and this 2-acre tract right here as well. I want to give her 2 acres here. Ideally, I would like to give it over to that property line and just dissolve that other property line, but I was told I had to have an easement, so I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to give my daughter 2 acres. She's wanting to build a fairly nice house, and I just feel like it's the kind of growth we need in the county, so
All right. Questions for Mr. Hicks? Questions for Mr. Hicks? Not hearing it?
Just,
Go ahead.
I've stated this before, and just so you'll know where I stand on this. R1s, I understand that you've got to go to an R1 in order to get 2 acres. And currently, the 4 acre versus 2 acre in an AR, another option for you is kind of on the table. Our policy is on the table with our new consultants and our board of commissioners. So, as it currently stands right now, R1s are out of character to spot zone R1s in a rural conservation area completely goes against our comp plan to me. And we've had these issues come up before, and I've stated that it's just not good business to be putting R1s in conservation areas. So for that reason, I would have to oppose it.
I know we're gonna throw a little bit on there, that's right on the edge of that corridor between 98 and all, there's a business, there's own business right across the road from that, so. It's towed in there too, so we can look at that both ways. It's right on the verge of being on that, corridor, 98 corridor right there. So I think about a mile, less than a mile from 98 highway down there.
It's probably about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Hicks?
Is this something, that you said because of the easement, you didn't want to absorb it and give her 2 acres by adding more acreage there?
Well, my home is back here. My home is right back here.
Yeah.
I have a shop and all on this track here. Like I say, I mean, they said I had to have an easement, so that's the reason it's drawn like that. But ideally, I would like to just dissolve that line and do away with it, but I'm at y'all's mercy on that. But I'd already given my father-in-law 2 acres here that was approved, probably 10 acres, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I don't remember exactly when. But, I just want to give her 2 acres, and I'll still have everything from here on with it.
Because like he said, it's on the table that the 2 acres not come back.
But we're not dealing with that.
Yeah, I know.
Any further comments, questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Hicks. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wants to speak in favor of this rezone request? Hearing none. Anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for your consideration of a motion to approve, disapprove, or approve with conditions.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ken to approve.
Second.
Second by Stephanie. Any comments or discussion by the board? Yeah, no, Lee?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Has been approved. To let you know that, there's another public hearing on the 8th of January. Ask that you be there. All right, moving on.
Okay, next up, we have Sean Hayes and Adam Larson with New Frontier Holdings. They are requesting to rezone their 4.44 acres from R1 to business to operate a mobile home dealership on the property. Property is located at 7960 Highway 72 West in Colbert on map 46, parcel 202 in District 3.
May I approach and give you a handout?
Yes, sir.
Each of you? So,
Absolutely.
some of this information you already have, some you don't. So I just wanted to go over what you may not have and
Thank you very much.
get you up to speed and answer your questions. So, my name is Adam Larson. Thank you very much for
seeing me today. Sean Hayes is my business partner. We're the sole owners of New Frontier Holdings. And that was created, to give you a real quick history, that was created just over a year ago with the sole purpose to buy 3 mobile home parks, known as Country Living, Diamond Hill, and Baloo. And we did that last November of 2022, a year ago, if my numbers are right. Okay. And wow, we had a big project on our hands, and that started out in several phases. First, we had to do emergency repairs. A year ago today, I was under homes trying to patch up busted water pipes. Baloo didn't have running water for 6 months before we got there. The previous owner had died, and the place just filled up with a lot of people, and it became like the Wild West. And we inherited more than we thought we would. We bit off a lot more than we could chew, but we were determined to make this work, and we've done it with our own bare hands. We're really proud of where we've gotten to. So in the next phase, we had to start to do an emergency cleanup because there was this dangerous mess that was there. And then the following phases were to start to develop the properties, which would involve evictions because we couldn't do repairs or tear downs, obviously, with people living there. And so that was a long process as well. And then we did an entire cleanup, and I'm sure most people are pretty aware of Diamond Hill. It looks a lot different than it did. And between the 3 parks, we were the source, we as in the owners of the property were the source of a lot of 911 calls. I'm pleased to announce we've had 0 for the last several months because the places, there are no mobile homes left. It's entirely cleaned up. I cleaned up over 300 tires with my own bare hands. I was there, I did it, Sean was there, and we did it. And so what we're actually proposing now is we've turned to Country Living, so at 7960 Georgia 72. So right between the Ace Hardware and the water tower, there is where Country Living used to be. There's no mobile homes there, but if you've been there in the last few days, you'll notice a gigantic Christmas tree that's lit up and a fence that Sean and I built. We're dedicated to do this, and we're all in to make this work. And we would like to redevelop it into a mobile home dealership. So we've partnered with Legacy Home Builders. They're a very reasonable quality builder based out of Eatonton, and we toured their factory, and we've gone through all the certifications that we require in order to be a licensed dealer for them. We have our license from the state as well. We are a licensed dealer, ready to roll. And the front image is just simply an image of what we want to provide is affordable housing that people can have a homestead that is affordable. And I think that's very much in line with Madison County's values. So the first page is just simply a cover page, and our business plan is in there with projections and where we intend to take the business and cost and income and estimates. We have the next page, it'll say GDOT on the top. We have our letter from the Department of Transportation. They've done a traffic study. It's a very low collision area, very low traffic. This is not deemed a high traffic business. There won't be many people in, they don't purchase that way. And so an easement, or sorry, not an easement, but a turn lane isn't required. There's tons of visibility, but you can see all that in the study that was done and approved by the Department of Transportation. And I can stop if I'm going too quick. So the following page also shows the site plan. I don't think it's the same one that's on there, but it's very similar. You'll see the notes on the very bottom from the DOT. They've made notes about the entryway, and then you can see the red buildings. So those are drawn in by our site development. So the place has had a full survey, full inspection, soil testing, landscape, everything, topography, all of that has been done. And those buildings are show homes. So there'll be approximately, in the beginning, there'll be 6 show homes, and there'll be 1 building that will be a more permanent structure that will be the office that we work out of, which will also be a manufactured home with parking, and we're aware of the compliance from the county to have a paved area for people to park and access and everything like that. So you can see that in the drawings, that's all there. There's already a septic tank there. It's 2,000 gallons. It's sufficient for a business. It's already been approved. We have approval from environmental for that as well. It's fully functional. We're good to go, and we're waiting for the next steps here. The next page is the landscaping and water drainage, and you can see up in the rear of the property, so along this way, this is Highway 72, just to kind of give you, so you get your bearings. In the very back there, that will be the drainage that is required of us to create for proper water drainage, and we obviously intend to be compliant. And the rest of it is fairly flat land, and it already naturally slopes towards that water drainage. There isn't much to do, but we'll do what is necessary to create the drainage and everything. As far as water, just to point out as well, there's already an operational well there. It's fully functional. We would run a new line for that for irrigation. So we don't intend to compete with, we'll have business competitors, but not in the same way. We don't intend for it to look like some of the close competitors. Ours we want it to look like a park, and that's exactly why the big lights and the Christmas tree and everything, that we intend to develop it with grass, not gravel, and to make the place beautiful, and we intend to irrigate it with the well. So we don't need any more water. In fact, we use less than was ever used with the 9 homes that were there and leaking and everything that we enjoyed. And then the final page there is just the survey of the land. And there's a second parcel, the entire one. It's being combined into one that was requested from the county. Makes no difference to us. It doesn't change our operations at all. That makes it smoother. That's perfectly acceptable to us. And so I think that's all I have, unless there's...
Okay. Do you plan to, are these all single wides or single wide, double wide?
It'll be a mix of both. We believe in the current market and the current climate with high interest rates and housing costs and all these kinds of things. We're probably going to be competing more at the single wide size. They'll be smaller, but we'll offer double wide, but we're not going to have a 2,600 square foot show home like some of our competitors have. I don't think that doesn't make sense to us. More single wides than double, but it'll be a combination of both. But the reality is, being totally forthright about it, we'll go where the market dictates. We're really confident in this area that we're gonna stick with affordability and selling the dream of a homestead that you can afford. So I think more single wides, but a double or 2 will be there, yes. The office, I believe, we're planning on it to be a single wide, if that matters to you. That will be permanent and hooked up to the sewage and water.
Are you planning to light these, or
they will all
have electricity?
Yes, sir.
To them?
Yes, they will all have HVAC. I walked through show homes and it was hotter than heck, and that was not enjoyable. We want it to be enjoyable and pleasant for people. It adds more cost to us, but we want them to be cool in the summer and warm in the winter and be lighted. We already have the plan set up for electricity from Jackson EMC to provide 3 security lights facing the right direction and provide security for the property. We provided the fencing, and it's locked down now that no cars can enter the property as well. For a lot of problems, and that was a top priority for us. It took us a while, but we got it done. Yes, so yes, they will all be powered.
Well, I live in this area, and
Okay.
I pass that every day.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, I'm glad you did clean that up because it was an eyesore. But my concern is, because those ones on 29, you know the ones I'm talking about.
I didn't hear what you just said.
On 29, you have a couple of these that sell homes, mobile home
Oh,
parks.
yeah.
Well, they're not mobile home parks, they sell mobile homes.
Got it, yes.
And
Okay.
they stick a lot of them up in there. So, but you said you want yours is gonna be like a park.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have them right close together, side by side.
Yeah, Sean and we've done so much extensive planning, and we did some secret shopping and pretended to be shoppers in some of these competitors, and I didn't like the bam, 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 bam. They were just lined up. I'm like, it was awful for me. It would be awful for a customer. We wanted to be like a park. I don't know. We put so much effort into it. We just wanted to look awesome and feel awesome when people come and feel good and look beautiful. So the plan is to have 6 show homes
Well,
the
my
plan.
concern is also, and I'm not gonna say DOT, but I don't know how they said that was not a high traffic area, because when they ran 72 to Elberton County, you got a lot of traffic on it, and there's been several bad accidents.
Perhaps I worded it incorrectly. I mean, there's plenty of traffic, and that's why the land is appealing to us as well. As a business, it's not a high collision area, and there's tons of visibility. The DOT has done the research and on traffic and on collisions and on visibility, and deemed that it's perfectly acceptable and safe.
Oh, yeah, I understand that, but.
But traffic, yes, it was
That
lots.
slope that goes up, you have to you gotta haul those trailers up that big slope.
Yeah.
And so that's, I know that's something you can't shave down or anything, but.
We actually can a little bit, and DOT is part of our stipulation. It has to be a certain width and a certain elevation, and that's all part of the construction plan and in our site plan and in our business plan and everything. So in order for us to get DOT's blessing, we have to do all of those things, and yeah. And so on a state level, we're good.
Okay. And my last question is, I know you have the pretty Christmas tree.
Yep.
Signage, and I know we have a signage guideline, but your signage is not gonna be tall like the Christmas tree.
No, so the Christmas tree is a flagpole. It's 35 feet. That's the county's max requirement. I double checked before I bought a flagpole and installed it. I double checked on that. Also double checked on the distance that it can be from power lines. Got our blessing from Jackson EMC on that. And as far as whatever signage we do, we'll be 100% compliant with the county's guidelines.
Okay, because I know a lot of
No problem.
signage is low there, but.
Yeah. Our advantage in that is just that it is an elevated spot, and our show home will be right along the front. Everyone will see what we need them to see. No one's buying because of a slogan, or if you saw our flag, it's pretty cool. But I don't know if you've seen it.
Any other comments or questions? Bruce?
Yes, sir, you mentioned affordable housing. What's your tentative price range for your homes?
It's a tough question to answer because Legacy Homes has over 200 SKUs, so there's a wide range. We anticipate a home would be in the low 100,000s to get it done, installed, set up, and ready to live in. That's where we think we can compete strongly.
You also own the other properties that were mobile home parks, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is do they fit into your business model? For example, are you gonna sell lots in those?
Diamond Hill we sold. We no longer own Diamond Hill. We sold it to a lady that I believe her intent is to redevelop the gas station. So the only thing that's left there is the gas station. Part of our sales agreement was that I have a construction crew that we would demo all of the homes that were there. That was her requirements to actually purchase. And so that's why we did the work and don't own it. So that's taken care of, and we've had all the demolition approved, and that's all done. Blue we still own, and so right now it is just 7 acres of dirt with a well. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know the direction we're going to go, because whatever we do, I mean, the sole providers as far as capital is me and Sean, and so we're in good standings. We're fine to move forward, but if we focus, and so Baloo, we're kind of sitting by the wayside to figure out what we want to do with that, because it does have the potential to develop. Rezoning that I think would be a real challenge, and so it's just not something we're even going to invest any money into right now, because we're really all in with this business. And so I don't know if that was a good answer to your question. We're not doing anything with it at this point.
Doing nothing is also always good.
Well, the neighbors love it. The neighbors love it now, because there are no transients in and out anymore.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
I just have a comment, and I cannot express this enough. Thank you for doing your due diligence, and there seems to be no guesswork. You've laid everything out, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, sir. We'll open the public hearing. Anybody here that wants to speak for this particular rezone request?
I'll say one thing.
All right.
50%.
Your name?
My name is Sean Hayes. Adam Sparta here with New Frontier. So my day-to-day job is I'm a real estate agent here. So I understand the affordability aspect, which is kind of what led me down this road here. So I'm 31, so my issue with the affordability aspect is I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what a mobile home actually is, right? And actually the term mobile home isn't even used anymore. It's just like Kleenex, right? Something that we all call it. But they're actually built up to HUD standards. So with 2x4s and 2x6s, foamed in insulation, so they're more energy efficient from a day-to-day operating standpoint, which I think is something that we should take into consideration. As far as the next generation, you know, housing right now is almost unaffordable for most people, right? Especially my age. So we're going to either become a nation of renters or a nation of innovators. And I think with the HUD standards that we're bringing in here, because these aren't, you know, low-end type homes. They're quality homes that I think people can actually build a home on. And, you know, not in a mobile home park, but I think it's a real opportunity here to bring in some people instead of leaving the county to go to a more affordable, you know, hopping over to the next one. So that's all I got. Thank you guys.
But you just
Thank you, sir.
You just want it to be a business. You're not going to start selling mobile homes for people to live out. It's just a business, right?
Yes, ma'am. So do you?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. So
And that's what we don't want, another one that, see, that one that you took down really got real bad.
And that's exactly.
Yeah.
We came in there as total rookies and had no idea about mobile home parks. We understood it and we said, okay, well, this is a good product. How can we implement this into the county to give people an opportunity instead of paying $2,500 a month in rent? They can build, you know, a home.
Thank you, sir.
So, thank you.
Is there anyone want to speak in opposition? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Stanley to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Kenneth. Any discussion? Lee.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. It is approved, gentlemen. Do want to remind you on January 8th, there's another public hearing with the commissioners. They'll probably have a lot more questions. Okay? Thank you very much.
Next up is Linda Thompson. She is requesting to rezone a portion of her 62.05 acres from A1 to AR to allow a split for a family member. Property is located at 1220 Sewell Mill Road in Danielsville on map 24, parcel 69 in District 2.
Thompson? Good afternoon.
Hello. My name is Linda Thompson. I'm a lifetime resident of Madison County, and I am requesting to rezone a portion of my 62-acre farm from A1 to AR in order for a split of 4.83 acres for a family member. My property is located at 1220 Sewell Mill Road in Danielsville. It's actually in Iowa, even though the address is Danielsville. About 2 years ago, I lost my husband. And with this 62-acre farm, I need help. It also has a 7 or 8 acre pecan orchard on it. So if you've ever worked in a pecan orchard, you know there's a lot of work to it. So that's why I need help. So that's why a family member is coming to my farm to be able to help me with a lot of this stuff. And I'm asking that you please approve this.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Any questions for Ms. Thompson?
From the scale, it looks like your road frontage is well over 150 feet, but do you know how much the road frontage is?
The road frontage itself, when they came out to do the survey, he said it was like 30 feet from the center line. So like somewhere between 30 and 40 feet.
How much of the property is along the road?
You know, I'm not really sure about that.
It looks like it's well over 100 feet.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Any further questions? Thank you, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you.
Open the public hearing. there anyone here who wants to speak for this rezone request? Hearing none, is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make a motion to approve this. As presented.
I believe this motion made by Lee, second by Cynthia. Any further discussion? If not, we're ready to vote, Stephanie.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Thompson, it is approved.
Thank you.
Again, as I talked to the others, the second public hearing will be January 8th, right here.
Thank you.
Mr. Tracy?
Okay, next up is Victor Neely. He is requesting to rezone 2 adjoining tracts of land containing 1.89 and 4.62 acres from A1 to R1 to combine and make 3 splits for a total of 4 parcels to build homes to rent or sell. Properties are located at 029 Highway 29 South in Colbert on map 43, parcels 97 and 106-01 in District 2.
Mr. Neely?
I'm actually Tim Griffith. I'm speaking on
Okay.
behalf of.
All right. Tell us what you want us to know.
All right. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to mention several factors here. I'm Tim Griffith. I live in Danielsville, Georgia. Lived there all my life. Several reasons why we're requesting this. You look at this, it's on a curve as you're coming on out of Danielsville. High rates of speed there, very high rates of speed. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, just a few months ago, there was a double fatality there due to 100-plus mile-an-hour speeds, Georgia State Patrol stated. One of the things that I know a little bit about is speed and traffic and driveway locations. I'm a traffic engineer for an adjoining county. As a matter of fact, serve on May courts,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, with you. And so I've actually been there over 40 years in the traffic engineering department, so I know traffic. It's not a good place in the curve. Well, this is originally 2 tracks. The curve, as you see up to the top of the photograph there, we've already gotten permission from GDOT to place a driveway there. It's not an ideal location for a driveway. As we were discussing this and the location and the safety considerations, we found that the property with the old Tip Top Motel, how many of y'all remember the old Tip Top Motel? I know you do, I do too, I'm 62, so I remember it well. That property was available, so we thought this would be great. Purchase the 2, then subdivide them. Now, we're not telling you we bought it knowing that you're going to rezone this. That's certainly not the case, but there are several factors that we believe that you ought to hear and consider as we discuss this. One of the important factors is we can put a driveway down on the lower end, come into the back side of the property there, and you see there is a blue line there, ladies and gentlemen, that shows the driveway. So GDOT, one of their concerns was, of course, high rates of speed, people pulling in and out. Can you imagine a school bus stopping in this curve to load and unload children? Now, by right, we can put a driveway up in that curve, but we thought this would be, well, actually, it will be much, much safer. This is a great location with plenty of sight distance down at the southern end or the lower end of this drawing. And then as they drive in, they can access all 4 driveways. Now, we're asking to divide this because we're wanting to build low cost. Now, I say low cost on homes under $300,000, which would probably be starter homes for families with children. One of the middle school teachers has already made the statement to Victor that we're losing children in our school system because parents cannot find housing. Certainly not affordable housing in Madison County, so they're moving to other counties. As a matter of fact, my oldest son, whom I would have dearly loved to have had there near me, decided that he couldn't afford anything in Madison County, and he went to Franklin County, of all things, horror of horrors. But that's just the way it is here in Madison County. So I understand that. Now, with the curve and the high speeds, we really think this thing makes sense. Another thing I'd like to bring to y'all's attention is this is listed now, currently zoned at A1. And I believe that's, 25 acres and up. So we believe it's incorrectly zoned now as well. We'd like to have this driveway to serve all 4 houses up through here. And another thing I'd like to ask you to consider too, doesn't like you, Mr. Chairman, you remember the old Tip Top Motel? It's been a blight. It's been an eyesore on Highway 29. I've gone that way many days to work and back and noticed what an awful mess that place is. Would like, if you grant this, we can tear that down. We'll build 4 brand-new homes there, and they'd be homes that I believe would be affordable for new residents, good tax-paying, law-abiding citizens of Madison County to locate here. I believe that's a reasonable request. If you look, too, at the current, off of this drawing, on the same side of the road, there are a lot of smaller lots along there with houses on them. But if you go up to the north, just 1 or 2 lots up, there's a mobile home park located there with several mobile homes as well on smaller acreage. So we feel like this is a reasonable request.
All right, sir. Thank you. Any questions about this rezone?
I have a question. Can you show us up there, where are you talking about the driveway?
Yes, ma'am. I'd be glad to.
Where that blue is, I believe.
Right here, the driveway would come in at this lower end. I don't know if it's touch screen or not, but you come all the way in and access house 1 here, house 2, house 3, and house 4.
Okay. And you said affordable housing, what price range are you talking?
Under $300,000. Yes, ma'am, and you know as well as I do, we can't nail down an exact cost. Construction prices go up every day.
So you're gonna be the construction?
Victor is a licensed contractor, yes.
Anyone else have any questions?
This would constitute a private drive and be built to county standards.
That's right, it would have to be paved to meet all the standards for a private drive. They told me it would be a shared driveway. GDOT said it would be a shared, and they said I had to use shared driveway. Yes, but a driveway that serves 2 or more residences under the local ordinances has to meet specifications that include paving and numerous other things.
We were not made aware of that.
Okay, that's something we did. Now you have to consider.
That's correct. That's correct.
And also, all the routing of this, I mean, from what I'm looking at, it just looks like it just goes through the interior of these parcels. To clean this up, I would strongly suggest making it hug the back property lines.
We would like that as well.
It just looks nice.
And if you notice on there, there's already another drive on the back on adjoining property that serves several homes back through there, just like this drive. However, this drive it's not a paved driveway.
Okay.
This drive will take up some of the land, and then you're gonna put septic tanks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So do we have, is that enough with the drive?
It'd be right at 3 acres, I believe, per parcel.
Oh, yeah, that's
They have money for it.
And one thing I would like to note as well, we have to build the road up over the gas pipeline that's currently there. I don't know how paving affects that either.
That'd be between y'all and the gas company.
So we could not pave that section then if the gas company agreed.
That's good.
Well, that's a touchy one there. You have county ordinances, and that's something that would have to be worked out. I don't think you can just say, oh, we can't pave it. We wouldn't have to. That's something that would have to be, because you have to abide by county ordinances as well as state.
Right.
As well as whatever the gas line company wants.
Yes, sir.
Will these have wells, or are you tying in the county water?
City water.
Yes, sir, county water.
So you'll have 4 connections?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Any further questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Public hearing open now. Anyone who wants to speak for this rezone request? Hearing none. Is there anyone here wants to speak in opposition to? Mr. Becker.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Oh, can't complain.
All right.
I was thinking that we had a 2-acre minimum for residential.
No, we have different ones. We have R1, we have A2s.
Well, without the driveway, if you combine the total acreage on the 2 tracts, divided by 4, it comes up to 1.62 acres. that's without the gas line. So the lot size would be considerably less than that when you put in the, driveway and take out the gas line. And it hadn't been but just a few years ago when I went to cut a house off right across the road. And when I showed the surveyor where I wanted the pins, and he'd come up, it was 1.8 something acres. They said, no, we can't do that. Gotta be a minimum of 2.
R1 is 1.5 acres. So when they have qualified, that's what he's asking for is R1, so it falls in the category, 1.5 acres.
Well, what about when you take off the driveway and the gas line? It ain't gonna get up there.
That's what
I
fits in, that fits in part of part.
I just asked that, Nick, it's sufficient, because it's total 6.51.
And where he's wanting that drive to come out, that's not far enough out of that curve to be a very safe entrance. There's quite an elevation drop off of that from the roadside to the back. Trust me, I've stomped every bit of that ground. A lot when I was young. I wish I was still able to.
All right, so anything else?
That's it.
Sir, can I get your first name?
Marion Baker.
Marion, thank
Anyone else wants to speak in opposition? He's brought up some concerns, so you have the right to rebuttal if you would like to.
Yes, sir. Like I said earlier, traffic is my specialty, 40-plus years, and the driveway is in a safe location there with adequate sight distance for its location. And these lots certainly meet the minimum requirement of 1.5 plus. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to be approved as requested.
I have a motion to approve by Bruce. I get a second.
I'll second.
Second by Kenneth. Any further discussion? Bruce?
Yes.
No. Simply no?
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
All right, I believe that's 4-2. No, 4-3, I'm sorry. Has been approved?
Thank you.
5-2. Remind you of the public hearing on January 8th. Also remind Mr. Baker, January 8th, public hearing. Please be there to express your opinion.
Thank you.
Moving on, number 9.
Okay, next up is Barry Lord with Interstate 85 Services is requested to rezone 42.538 acres from industrial with conditions, limiting the property to only 2 10,000 square foot warehouses to industrial without the condition placed on the property that was rezoned in 2022. Property is located at 11270 Highway 98 West in Commerce on map 2, parcel 6 in District 1.
Lord?
Yes, my name's Barry Lord. I live at 437 Sam Brown Boulevard in Commerce, and we're here to ask that one condition limited to 2 10,000 square foot buildings be removed. And we've had interest in economic changes. We've had a lot more interest in being able to add more buildings. So we just come requesting that.
All right, any questions from the board?
How many more buildings you want to add?
Well, we did a concept plan to where there would be, the corner we had rezoned for a convenience store, which is in the process of being funded. And so, that will happen sometime in 2024. The concept showed 6 lots. We're putting in a road off of D. Williams that would be built to Madison County standards and to access the lot.
Do you know why the conditions were put on in the first place?
Well, my original concept I'd done, Interstate 85 Services was planning on building 2 10,000 square foot warehouses, but we had more interest in people wanting to buy a portion of the property and build their own warehouse or own business that would fit into the industrial zone.
Well, I travel that way quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have one concern. My one concern is, this is the third rezone for this particular property, the third or fourth, or how many, coming back, but I have not seen anything started.
Right.
I mean, I've seen some land clearing, but I've seen the first brick laid or the first grading done.
Yes, sir, I understand. The reason we had to apply for a rezoning was to change the condition. And then the county attorney said we'd have to go through that process to do it. We do have a contract pending approval to be able to start a building out there, but we're waiting to see if this goes through before we can finish that contract.
Anyone else have questions? Lord? Go ahead.
So what size buildings? Originally, you wanted 2 10,000 square foot buildings. What size buildings will these be?
I would imagine they would be anywhere between 5 and 10,000.
And will all of them be required to be warehouse or storage with, you're going to have retail fronts on them, or just strictly warehouses?
Most of them will be office warehouse, not necessarily a drive-up retail center.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them will be, like we originally planned, an office warehouse setting.
So you said people are interested, so you won't be building them. You will sell the land to someone and they'll be building.
That is correct.
Okay, so, you said they're gonna be office buildings, but you don't know exactly what they're gonna put in? Are they gonna be putting any, industrial materials or?
Well, there was 2 more conditions originally.
Yeah.
And we don't have any problem with that. We're not going to be storing any hazardous materials or anything there. That's going to be a follow the condition, that was originally placed on it. The only one thing we're asking for is to be able to build more properties there.
Will you have covenants for everyone to make it look right? Will you have covenants in here?
Yes.
To make sure that everyone is
Right,
building
yes, sir.
something similar?
That's correct. Yes, sir. We're,
Same
and
standards?
we're going to have landscape strips. We're going to have landscaping buffers and everything, so that it could be aesthetic.
Will this be, since you're asking for more, obviously there's going to be more truck traffic and things of this. Is that coming out on 98 or?
It's coming out on D. Williams.
D. Williams.
Yes, sir.
And then entering into 98.
That's correct.
Have you entertained an entrance? I know I see the way you presented the site plan, but obviously that's going to shift the burden as far as that truck traffic, putting it onto a county road as opposed to being on a state highway.
Mm-hmm.
Have you considered possibly having that alternate there, where it wouldn't put that burden onto the county?
Yes, I mean, the lots that front 98, they would be able to permit through the Georgia DOT and go through their standards.
What about the park as a whole, possibly, with an entrance coming off 98 as opposed to D. Williams, then to be able to do that, to keep truck traffic onto
Right.
State Road, as opposed to, since there's going to be a convenience store there on that corner
Mm-hmm.
now, and I'm not sure how that obviously is all going to play in there.
Right. We felt that it would be safer to come in off the side road, honestly, in the design.
So if I'm
looking at this correctly, then your usage of T. Williams Road would be just a little less than 100 feet.
Excuse me, sir.
No, I think about 150 feet.
Probably about 200 feet or so.
So if you get two tractor trailers turning left out of there to get back to 98, I mean, you're basically full at that point there. I mean, if you're 200 feet off 98, right, if you've got two 48-footers, I mean, you have exhausted the capabilities there for access running onto the side road there.
Any further questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Oh, one more question, water. Where do we access water?
That's actually a good question. This is in the City of Commerce coverage area. Actually, the vault for the switch between Madison and Jackson is about halfway down around lot 2. And we have discussed with Madison County and also either bringing the water down from Dan Waters down, but that's an issue that we have to work out with the City of Commerce since that's their coverage area. And there's some talk of moving the vault back up to the county line and servicing it from Madison County, but that's something that I know that there's been talks between Madison County and the City of Commerce.
So you're not there yet?
No, sir, we're not there yet.
And there'll be, will they be septic?
There will be septic, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir. All right, where's Mr. Lord? Open the public hearing. Does anyone want to speak in opposition in favor of this rezone request? Anyone in favor? Hearing none, does anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion and a motion. Any further discussion? Not, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with conditions in order to be consistent with what the BOC had placed on the property to begin with 2 buildings. I would like to add that, number 1, that it be limited to warehouse, no hazardous materials, and a vegetative buffer for appropriate around the property to shield it from neighbors.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Do I get a second?
Sure, no second.
Motion by Lee, second by Bruce. Further discussion? I believe, what is it, Cynthia?
No.
Yes. No. Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. This is approved. We will take it to the Board of Commissioners, and on January 8th, there will be another public hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Number 10.
Okay, Fred and Marla Hall are requesting to rezone 2 adjoining tracts of land containing 5.2 and 5 acres from A1 to AR to allow the common property line between the adjoining properties to be adjusted to allow setbacks to be met. The properties are located at 416 and 464 Still O'Kelly Road in Danielsville on map 41, parcels 2 and 3 in District 2.
All right, Mr. Hall?
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Long night, huh?
Tell us what we need to know. Yes, sir.
I'm not doing a golf course.
Okay.
We bought these 2 tracts a number of years ago, and it was on day 1. We have a mobile home, you can see one here, and the other one is kind of right on the property. And we did that because the property falls off, and so we wanted a level place for the home. And so now, we want to bring it into compliance and just shift that property line enough so that it's not going through the house. And we can't do that because A1, and it has to be rezoned to AR to do that. And, you know, they're not in compliance as it is now because they're going to A1, I think it was 4 acres for, or what's A1, 25 acres or something like that? Yes, sir. So they're out of compliance. So all I'm asked to do is just bring them back in compliance so we can move that property line and observe the correct setbacks.
Are you planning to put anything else on that?
No, sir. I've got to drill another well.
Yeah. So you just want to do it to come into compliance?
That, and we will eventually want to sell them, so can't sell them with a property line going through it.
All right, any further questions for Mr. Hall?
You mentioned well, just to make sure, because we've had issues with this. The well and septic lines
Oh, yeah.
properly with the house.
Yes, they're properly. In fact, one of the wells, you might be interested, the well I drilled there now produces well over 100 gallons a minute.
Ooh.
So the IDBA may.
Then you get over that.
I've told them that the process to go through it is, you know, if you guys are to pay for the process, then, you know, that.
Any further questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, open the public hearing. Anyone want to speak for this rezone request? Anyone want to speak in opposition? If not, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve rezoning as requested.
Motion by Cindy, second.
I second.
Seconded by Kenneth. Any further discussion? If not, Kenneth?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Been approved. We will recommend to the commissioners that approve, and again, remind you as I did the other ones, January 8th, right here. All right, number 11.
Okay, Shane Sarter is requesting to rezone a portion of his 25 acres from A1 to A2 to bring the property into compliance with zoning regulations after a portion of the property is split and absorbed into neighbors' adjoining property on map 105, parcel 1201, leaving him with 18.68 acres. Property is located at 0 Bertha Willis Road in Carlton, map 105, parcel 1202, in District 4.
All right.
Good evening. Well, Shane Sarter. I currently live at 45 Whistle Hollow in Comer, Georgia. Currently in the process of building a home on the property in question. That current address is now 187 Bertha Willis Road. The property next door is owned by some friends of ours. We actually bought the two pieces of property together at the same time. Then they decided they wanted to put their house in a different location, and would like to buy that 6.3 acres from us so that they can actually not be so close to the property line as it exists now. And actually it gives them a little more of an open field, which is a portion of the property.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
After you trying to straighten up the boundary line, trying to straighten it up, instead of being the neighbors going over that way.
To make everything, do what, I'm not sure if I'm following the question.
On the side plan there like that, there's a current line at the bottom of the yellow.
This is the current property line as it stands.
Oh, okay.
This is the, let me be sure I'm looking at it right, yeah. So, this would be the section that they would absorb into their existing 25. It would just be, that line would just shift that way.
I thought it was that way.
Oh, no, sir, sorry.
The top parcel will remain A1.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we'll open the public hearings. Anyone want to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve as presented.
Oh, and you'll need the condition that it be joined with the neighboring parcel. Because it's too small to be a standalone entity. That's correct.
With that condition.
We have it drawn up, all.
I saw that, yeah.
That's good.
So the condition that it be absorbed and presented.
Be absorbed into parcel 0105-012-01. I'm just reading.
Did you get that, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, motion and second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Did you make a motion? Or you just make, William make a motion, okay? Motion by William, second by Stephanie. Any further comments or discussion? If not, are we ready?
Yes.
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 Been approved. We will recommend to the commissioners that they accept this again, January 8th.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay?
All right, we have Brittany Smith, applicant for her grandmother, Mary Collins, is requesting to rezone 33.7 acres from A1 to A2 to allow the property to be split into 2 equal tracts to gift her granddaughters. Property is located at 4601 Highway 174 in Danielsville on map 49, parcel 103 in District 4.
Okay, Brittany?
My name is Brittany Smith. I reside in Commerce, Georgia. February of 2022, we lost my granddad, and my grandmother is a widow, and she is wanting to deed off. She's deeded off the property of the 33.7 acres for us to build a house on, for us to help take care of her and the farm. So that's all.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Smith?
The existing 40-foot access easement that's listed on the plat from 174 into, I guess, where your grandmother's house is?
This is the main entrance of the driveway. So this will be split in between, this will be deeded or acreage, and she's going to do an easement for us because her house is right here.
Okay. Look, you see that down in the lower left corner where it says 40-foot easement? You see what I'm talking about? Right between 174 and I guess that home, that dotted line is.
This one here?
No.
The dotted line, just above there.
That says 40-foot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What is that for? Don't know.
I do not know.
That's nothing, Tyler, Mr. Paul must have,
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
Any further questions?
I'll have a question for Mr. Pruitt, not for Richard.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll, open the public hearing. Anyone want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak in favor of this rezone? Hearing none, anyone want to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for your consideration and a vote. And any questions that you may have. Lee, you have a question for?
There's 662 feet of road frontage on the parent parcel. At what point do we require 150 feet of road frontage versus letting them cut it off and having an easement?
Oh, you and on me. I don't recall us ever saying that you can't have an easement just because you have enough road frontage to cut it through there. There could be any number of reasons that people prefer, you know, I mean, I see here there's chicken houses, I mean, just guessing, but there could be any number of reasons that people would rather do it with an easement than divide it down the middle. I mean, obviously.
So our minimum road frontage that's listed on our matrix is 150 feet. Doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, so if they had decided to create this with, instead of having an easement, have one lot that had only 140 feet road frontage, that wouldn't work.
Right.
But if you have less than 150 feet, anywhere between 0 and 149.9, you can cure it with an easement.
That's why I was asking. They've got a total of 660, or yes, 660 feet on the road.
Yeah, I mean, if you think there's some, I don't know what the disadvantage is of having an easement versus splitting it down the middle.
All right. I mean, I didn't want to force anyone to cut property up in a way that they didn't want it. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't bound to try to.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that's their choice. I mean, I'm not an appraiser or a planner. I would think that probably that makes the acreage on the back worth less than the acreage on the front because it only has an easement access. But if they're not planning to develop it in the future, then that's probably irrelevant to them.
That's your question? Any further questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Now, does the easement have to be a condition?
No, that'll be
Okay.
but
Be in the plat.
they've already got Mr. Paul to do a plat, so he'll just convert this to one that can be recorded, but it's already there. Christopher's office will make sure that it's still there when they bring it in to record.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve as discussed.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Yes.
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 Yes. Has been approved. We will recommend to the Board of Commissioners for approval. And again, as I reminded the others, January 8th, right here.
Thank you.
All right, number 13.
All right, Adam Swan, applicant for the Mary M. Shelton Trust, and Donald Rowers Jr. is requesting to rezone 43.02 acres from business to R3 to develop a retirement community subdivision consisting of 36 lots. Property is located at 0 Norwood Road in Hull on map 18, parcel 78 in District 1.
Yes, sir.
Adam Swan, 1041 Founders Lake Drive, Athens, Georgia. So yes, I'm proposing 36 houses. This would be a 55 and over community. It'd be a retirement community. Houses would be single-story houses, planned for cement siding, architectural shingles. One of the comments that I heard when meeting with some folks is to limit the houses for 2 bedrooms, since it is a 55 and over retirement community. So we would plan to modify our house plans where there are 2 bedrooms. They may have an office, but they would be limited to 2 bedrooms, per one of the individuals I met. The subdivision would only be for occupants that would be 55 and over. So they would have recorded covenants and a recorded HOA. And the covenants would state in there that if you're purchasing a house, that you'd have to be 55 and over. The neighborhood would also be maintained. They'd have sodded yards, and it'd be maintained by professional landscaping, and that would be in the HOA fees. Water will be served by Madison County. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. So covenants would restrict school-age kids in the neighborhood, which is typical for a retirement community. Now, obviously, they're in the covenants. It'll state for a holiday period of 2 to 3 weeks. That's fine, and there would be a hardship clause where in the event that grandparents had grandkids that were taken over, they could have them for up to 60 days. But other than that, the neighborhood would be limited to 55 and over. So answer any questions.
Well, you know, we can't control covenants.
Right, but they're.
We kinda can't control covenants. You've got them, but that doesn't mean that down the road, that can't be dissolved and you can sell to anybody. Is that true?
No, once the covenants are recorded, because they're a recorded document. So if there's somebody in this neighborhood, say, tries to sell their house to a couple that's in their 20s, the attorney would have to pull the covenants for that neighborhood in their title search. And so those covenants would read that the house cannot be sold to someone that's less than 55 years old. So it's a legal bounding document that's recorded.
That's correct. And the 55 and over is an approved thing. It's an approved exception to normal discrimination requirements.
Could just be enforced civilly instead of.
Right.
So
this R1, are these gonna be connecting because that's multifamily, you're saying single family, are these gonna be like branch connections?
There won't be any connections. They'll all have their own individual lots.
So why are we going to R?
It's R3.
R3, I mean R3 instead of the R1.
Because R1 is going to require 1.5 acre lots minimum. And the people that have come to me asking about a retirement community, they say we want smaller lots. And this gives an option to where some of the lots are 3/4 of an acre.
Right.
And then some of the lots are up to 1.5 acres to 2 acres.
So because 55 and over, would they be like more ranches than 2 stories?
Yes.
Okay. And is that, going out there, is that business, I know there's a private business or a private drive for business over there. Is that, yours?
Right there on the corner?
Yeah, that's yours or?
It's not mine. I'm not sure who or what they're doing with it, to be honest. But I've seen it there, the metal building.
That's probably why that's business now.
Probably so.
Okay.
These will have septic,
Yes, sir.
not sewer.
Correct.
And,
do you have any kind of plans as to what it would look like, what the buildings will be built out of, or any
Well,
type
it'd
of-
be hardy plank siding or cement siding. Hardy's just one manufacturer of it, but cement siding and architectural shingles as far as the exterior. They have brick or stone accents, masonry accents on the front.
Where would the entrance be?
To the neighborhood?
Yes.
On Norwood Road. So, this is the Norwood Road's here, and the entrance is coming in here, and we looped the interior road system, because we spoke to the road department, Alan LaPensi, and he said that it would help in the event, if there's a fire here with this house, and it's just a road with a cul-de-sac, they'd be blocking that entire road, so people couldn't get to their houses here. So we looped it all the way around, and also we consider it amenity, because on the interior lots, I plan to do a sidewalk, so people can walk that loop, around the neighborhood there, so.
is this right here, back here, is that a pension pond or something? What is this right
Yes,
here?
ma'am, that's planned for stormwater management.
Okay.
Who would actually take ownership of that parcel that the retention pond's on?
It'd be the homeowner association, and it's in the, homeowner association documents and covenants.
So will you give that homeowner association over to the community or over to a private, realtor?
We give it over to the community, and at that point, it's up to them that they want to decide if it's a state certified licensed, condo association or homeowner association management firm to take it over. So some communities will handle it themselves to avoid the fees, from an association manager, and then some will pass it off to an association manager.
So it would be up to them to make sure those covenants are being.
Well, yes, that's correct. It's up to the homeowner association.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so that's the community.
But if, in the event that there's a complaint, then
Christopher said, it's a civil dispute. But there's a board that's created with the homeowner association when it's transferred over, and then there's a president. And that board can, assess the property owner if they're outside of the covenants.
Is this property back up to 106?
No.
Backs up to a Sanford Road, don't it?
It's got like 32 feet on Sanford Road. It's right there where that guardrail is in the curve.
Yeah. I see a pipeline, is that pipeline, I don't see where it's on the side, is this where the pipeline is, or is it?
No, ma'am, it goes through the property there.
Otherwise, it's dotted, where it really shows where the pipeline.
There you go. Up here.
Oh, it was, right. Oh, okay, so what about those, sitting on the pipeline?
Well, there's other developments that are built on the pipelines. So when building the roads there, we essentially got to coordinate with the pipeline and make sure that we don't undercut into their area of their easement. And then as far as the homeowners, they can't build any structures or anything on that.
No, I'm just talking about the septic tank.
Well, that would be, when we go to preliminary plat phase, we have the full level resource surveys done, to determine where our suitable schools are and unsuitable schools are, and to determine, I mean, we could go from 36 lots to 32 lots. But I'd rather come in here and, with 36 lots and us get reduced to 32 than to say we're gonna do 32 and,
As you're aware, there's a lot of discussion prior to these rezoning requests and stuff like that. But, I've heard a lot of conversation about this is a business area, it's its own business. And we here in this county don't have very much business places that are designated business.
yes, sir.
You know, so.
So my thought process behind this is, it's in a location, where one, they're close to a pharmacy up there with CVS, they've got a grocery store right there close. And then if you look at the parcel here, there's about 150 foot of frontage on Norwood Road, but other than that, there's no accessible frontage on any other major roads. When the DOT come in and redirected 106, it impacted this property. So to me, in that sense, I have a hard time believing that a business, but I'm not the one to say that, but that was my consideration for it, so.
Well, there actually is one business just adjacent to it, right there, that old,
Yes, sir, they're doing something in the middle building, I'm not sure. So.
What value are you placing on these homes?
They're between 300 and 400,000.
55, no. 300 to 400?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We'll open public hearing. If anyone wants to speak for this? Yes, sir. Please come forward and give us your name.
Yes, sir. My name is Doug Price. I'm an attorney in the office of Stanton Porter. Our address is 73 Church Street, Weiner, Georgia. We're here on behalf and support of the applicant in this rezone. We're asking that you follow allow this rezone from business to R3 residential. Those areas are suited for residential development with style. It will be a positive addition to the county. Property consists of approximately 43 acres and will be developed into 36 lot single-family subdivisions as was described under R3 zoning if approved. Houses will be on a septic system, water provided by the county. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think the developer did an excellent job on that, we're happy to answer any other questions that you may have. As a person over the age of 55 myself, I think that it's an excellent thing to have. And as far as when we're talking about the objection, the possible objection, or the question about it being in a business section, that the answer he gave to being close to grocery stores, close to pharmacies, that's what you got to have for senior communities. And I think that this would be as good as you could ever get outside of in a more rural area to have this kind of thing and to have it closer to the grocery stores and the pharmacies. I hope y'all agree that it'll be a good addition to the community, and we ask that you approve it as presented.
Thanks, sir. Anyone else want to speak for this rezone?
Gary Burnett, 625 Russell Drive, Comer, Georgia. I'm with Burnett Realty. I'm an agent, and I'm the one representing the seller on this tract of land. I'm the one that brought it before the board here many years ago. And by the way, I respect highly what you guys do because I sat on this board for 4 years. I've had this tract listed for about 5 years. I've sold 2 of them for business. And this tract I've had now for about 2 years. And I have, to be honest with you, I've received no phone calls other than what the price was. And it's currently listed at $780,000. And I've had no entertainment whatsoever on it. So the lady that was the conservator of this tract, she's dead. And before she died, she turned it over to the heirs of the estate, which they live in another state. And so when Mr. Swan came to me with this idea of building a subdivision, I told him, let's try it, make an offer. And he made an offer, and they accepted the offer. But they were fully understood that it had to come before rezone. So the reason that we started off with business was that we thought that was the right area to put business, and I've had no problem selling the other 2 tracts. The reason that little tract was set and cut off the way it was, the DOT was the ones that surveyed that whole property for the estate. And they're the ones that determined where the cuts were, where the entrance to access it was. So we've had, like I said, no results on it. We would like to see, I think this is the perfect place for a 55 and older, because I'm quite older than that. And if I didn't have a farm that I lived on, I would definitely be interested in something like this. And I think it would be because you've got doctor's office, dentist office, you're 3/4 of a mile from Clark County, you're 10 minutes from Athens Regional Hospital, where older people are concerned about those kind of things. How fast I can get to the hospital if I need to go. And so I think, and I've requested you guys take this into consideration because Madison County does not have one. We do not have a 55 and older that I'm aware of subdivision. And I've been around. I've been through many, many rezones. I've been with Mr. Pruitt for 100 years.
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't feel as old as you say I am.
I won't go there. But anyway, I think it's a great idea, and I request that you approve this.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else wants to speak for it? Anyone want to speak in opposition? Please come forward.
It's not an opposition, it's a question. Angela Rouse and Mr. Howard and Miss Mary Sheldon, I played on the tennis court that was on this property. I know it very well. Don't live far from it. My one question is, we're putting 36 houses on the 43 acres. Is that going to have impact on the lengthy discussion earlier about density in this same little community? Because the golf course is, what, half a mile?
9/10 of a mile.
Yeah. That's just a question.
Question or comment? Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I live at 282, basically kind of right on the corner where they're going to be coming in. And the only question that I really had was as far as like the septic tanks and stuff affecting my water system, such as my well and that type of stuff in the entrance, plus with the golf course and all, just the new traffic. And I was just concerned where the entrance is coming in and certain lots adjacent to where my well is with these septic tanks.
Can I get your name, sir?
What's that?
Can I get your name?
It's James Buhite,
Okay, James.
Buhite.
Thank you.
Well, just to clear one of your questions, I think, did you say we'll be on county water?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there are setback rules as far as how far septic can be oil from your well. It's just kind of answer your concerns there.
Yeah, then I'm assuming this is Norwood right here, or in this general direction.
Well, we can't see that one. Right, you point to it on this?
I'm assuming that this is what Norwood Road and the entrance is gonna be right here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, my lot's gonna be like right in there. I was just, really concerned about just my well and their septic tanks contaminating my well system.
So the best I can answer your question is that setbacks as far as how far septic tank can be from a well, and they'll have to abide by that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We'll wait just a minute here until Bruce returns. Before we take a motion on this one.
I just want to ask a question, since he brought up, what is the other parcels, were they business that you sold, that you said you sold, is it in this area?
Yes, ma'am, there's a 4-acre tract that's in that.
Oh. Can you go back to,
Right, yeah, my lot's right here. Yeah, that's where I was thinking.
Are we done with all the things and do the rebuttal now, Mr. Chairman?
No.
Oh, okay.
it's not on?
Yes. It's this 4-acre tract right here, that little corner.
Oh, that's the one that's got the business down in.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
And then this is, the 9-acre tract that I sold, to Crazy Ray.
Okay.
They're putting, warehouses there. So there's not gonna be a whole lot of traffic coming in and out of there.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, we will,
Can I answer their questions?
Sure.
I think Ms. Ralph brought up the impact on traffic. Typically with a 55 and over community, you're gonna have less traffic than a typical single-family, normal community. Because you've got really one car, maybe two, and typically they'll be together if they're leaving, and they don't have kids that are driving. Mr. James brought up septic tank in his well. State does have a 100-foot well buffer, that the survey has to go around before we submit a preliminary plat and confirm if there's any wells within 100 feet of that, our boundary property line. So, those will be shown on the preliminary plat when we get to that phase, so.
You are the builder. I know you brought up 400,000, so you don't have an idea of what kind of materials, bricks?
You said it'd be hardy plank.
Oh, hardy plank.
Yes, ma'am.
Hardy plank.
And it has masonry accents, whether it's brick or stone. It'd have masonry accents, so it could be brick or stone accents.
Oh,
Thanks, sir. All right, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for a motion or discussion. If you have any discussion, we'll motion.
One discussion I got is, and that they addressed it, is the business zoning. I mean, we are starving for business, and we can see from the outcry when we go through a rezone and trying to get something to go, and the opposite is going to bring everything out there. And so that's my challenge with this particular one, is doing away with a business zone.
Can I respond to that?
We're closed now, it's just up here, sir. Sorry. We're closed to public hearing.
I have a concern not only with this one, the golf course included with R3s. I'm not a fan of R3s, that are not on sewer. I would like to see them at least an acre minimum, just like we asked with the golf course. And the business zone kind of throws me off to it. It's hard to get something rezoned in the business zone.
That's one of the first things that stood out to me was we're sacrificing on side of a B parcel.
Any other comments? I too had the concern, I think I brought it up about the B zone. But we don't have very many of them, and I do have a concern about R3s. I think if you do allow R3, which is multifamily, that you have a condition that these houses, they cannot put multifamily housing in there in conjunction with these regular houses or single-family housing. That's just my concern. But anyone else?
that's also my concern with the R3 multifamily, because that's my first thought, multifamily. And even with 55.
But it allows single family.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying,
understand.
even with, 55 and over, I know they don't want the lot size, but, it's just.
I know we can zone it R3 and the developer say it could be single family, but who goes to say that he can turn right around and say he's gonna put in duplexes or duplexes in there. Once it's zoned R3, that's his prerogative. So, that's my feeling on it. Business, his own business is, we're trying to get business in here, not run it off. Not thinking on that.
All right, any further discussion? Not, I will entertain a motion. Approve, disapprove, approve with conditions, or whatever the board desires.
I'll make a motion to deny.
So a motion to deny by Kenneth. I get a second. One more time, do I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by William. Any further discussion? If not, Lee, I believe something?
Yes.
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 You.
Yes.
Yes. So, this board has declared to deny, and, again, the public hearing will be on January 8th with commission.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion
Wait, one minute, I second. We are adjourned. Chief.
provide graphics on what?
Yeah, right there, right where Norwood comes in, right where their entrance. Like, their entrance. Yeah,
Norwood was coming down here. I'm right here on this corner lot.